It's go time. What's going on, family? What's going on? How you doing? Welcome to the Sunday show. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Miss Vaughn, Aisha, Luis, Pink, me, myself, and Lapeef JR. Welcome to the Sunday show. What's good? What's good, family? How y'all doing?
What's happening, brother? Hey, I like that intro, man. It was nice. I like that.
Man, a little Sunday fun day. You know how it is, man.
Right on.
What's going on, Luis?
What's going on, JR? How are you doing, family?
Man, blessed to be alive, man. Blessed to be alive and in the presence among some of the greats. So it's always a good day.
Yes, amen to that. Amen.
Yeah. As you guys come in, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you're catching this on the replay, hit the like button. And also make sure you subscribe. Right out the gate, we do have big money. Dedicated to my children's future, $55. Sunny energy, strong iron emoji, peace to the panel and the chat. Have a good day, everyone. Enjoy the show, relax, have fun, and share some laughs. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Mrs. Hinkins in the house as well. Shout out to you, ma'am. Let's go to get this show started, man. Came across this clip of this young lady being kicked off the boat. Y'all seen that? No, well, we're going to go ahead and get into it and react and get you guys' thoughts about it. Here we go.
Okay, fair warning. This is a long story, but if you've ever been on a cruise, you know the excursions can be chaotic. So buckle up. So we booked an excursion through Carnival Glory to get on a ferry to go over to the Blue Lagoon beach. We stood over an hour in line waiting on the ferry to get here. Finally, when we got on, it went crazy. There's a family of 3 that apparently didn't get the wristbands that is required to go to the beach. No wristband, you don't get off of the boat at the dock. Just that simple. But the mom, she was not having it. She was determined that she was not getting off of this boat. Security came, asked her to leave, and she just kept saying, "I'm not getting off of the boat." Over and over again. Her little boy was begging her to get off of the boat. And then the little boy just walked away and broke down and started crying. And to make it worse, it was very hot. Like I can't breathe hot. And one lady started having an asthma attack. At this point, everyone's sweating, waiting and watching this unfold. Finally, a security guard shows up that can actually lift her. And I kid you not, she lifts her up and carries her off of the boat. I've seen a lot on cruises, but this right here was the next level. The moral of the story is when you go on a cruise excursion, get your wristband. Don't fight security. And maybe don't ruin your kids' vacation. How embarrassing is this for your child? Have y'all ever experienced drama like this on Carnival Glory for an excursion? Let me know in the comments.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
man, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Woman refused to get off the ferry without a wristband. Go ahead, Hank. I'm gonna start with you first, man. What are your thoughts?
I mean, Aisha need to get her family members, man. I'm trying to figure this out. What is going on, Aisha? No, I'm just messing with you. Look, unfortunately, you have situations like that probably happen way more common than we want to realize it. Last summer, me and my wife went on a cruise and we went on excursions, and we couldn't get off quite just right yet because they had to get everything in order to get us off. But for some reason, all of a sudden, this woman started having some type of panic attack. Reason why? Because she wanted her to be one of the first ones to get off. So they took off. Nobody else could get off before her. So they got her off, and all of a sudden, she got up to the dock. She started walking right like she had some sense about her. Goddamn it, this shit's crazy. And for this woman to do that in front of her son, and her son is begging her to come on, mama, get off. You know what I'm saying? Now, if that was her son acting fool like that, she'd probably be ready to hit that boy with that flip flop, beat his ass if he was acting like that. But she's gonna act just like a child, you know what I'm saying, and made herself like dead weight where they had to actually pick up. And I know that dude probably could have picked up. He really didn't want to do it, so he probably had to get a female security there in order to make it look like he's not trying to sexually harass her or push up on her or do something inappropriate to her. That's bad, man. And unfortunately, it makes us look bad as a people. I'll leave it there.
All right, go ahead, Vaughn.
Yeah, I just felt like it was really ridiculous. They think they could have handled that better. I've been on plenty of cruises, and I think we should definitely be better examples for our kids. Like, even if I was upset, she should have handled that differently. Maybe going to wherever they supposed to get the wristband, get off the boat. Just get off the boat, because I refuse to be carried off the boat. Like, I just don't understand that for the life of me. Like, I'm not embarrassing myself. Like, you literally picked me up and carried me off the boat. It's just not the way to have handled that to me. It's just, I feel like it was wrong for them to do that. They should just let the lady stay on the boat. All right, I'm gonna pull off, and your son is gonna be here, and you're gonna be on the boat.
Go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, I just think overall, it's just a terrible example. And I agree with Hank that some of these situations do happen more often than not. But you have to understand, when you are traveling, is incumbent upon you to ensure that you have everything you need. You have your driver's license, your passport, your boarding ticket, either the physical printed version and the digital version, just in case your phone might break or the battery might run out, whatever the case may be. You're always prepared, right? And she unfortunately didn't read the print. Like, if you're trying to get onto the boat, make sure you have the wristband. This is to ensure that the right people are on the right boat, and that we also prevent from outsiders who have malicious intent to get on, bypassing all the checkpoints to ensuring people's safety and well-being. This is why we have rules and regulation in place. It's not to bore people or to stop people. It's to ensure that the right people are receiving the right benefit and the right access. If we just let anybody on whenever they want to get on or do whatever they want, then it will just become very chaotic. And maybe, to give a caveat, maybe she could have had gone and said, like, okay, I forgot the wristband. What can I do in this short window of time to get a wristband? You have to get off the boat and you have to go to the kiosk and you have to go through that process. You can't do it on your phone. Okay, I can't do it on my phone. I can't do it here in person. I have to go to the kiosk. Is there another boat available after this one? How long would I have to wait? Half hour, 45 minutes? All right. Sometimes you have to pay the piper, unfortunately, for not being prepared. You know what I'm saying? Life is just works that way. You know, the people who are the early birds, the one who did the due diligence ahead of time, they get the rewards. Everybody else on the board had their wristband. They knew what to do. They did what was needed. Unfortunately, she forgot, or she just felt she didn't need to do it. In terms of how it was handled, you know, there's something to be said about public humiliation. um, I felt more sad for that young man, that young boy who had to see his mother, who's supposed to be the example as an adult for him, right? We forgot our wristband. Let's go get it. Let's go. Let's do this the right way. Now he feels embarrassed. He feels embarrassed for her, right? And it also kind of poisons the pool. It's like, well, if I don't get what I want and things don't go my way, I'm gonna do what my mom does. I'm gonna just not move. I'm gonna just cause a ruckus. You gotta set the right example in every scenario, especially when you're overseas, because this is not in America. Clearly, people here, especially black people in America, have to understand the rules in which are governed overseas do not apply to you just because you're American. You know, you have to follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? They have their ways of policy. You just have to understand and you have to be respectful. Nobody's going to run a red carpet for you just because you hold the blue passport. That, like, people around the world, as you can see globally through, geopolitical tensions, are fed up. So be very cautious when you travel. Are you?
All right, I'm gonna go to you, Aisha. Aisha, how do you feel when you see? I mean, some people when they are had that ghetto mentality, that reckless mentality, they don't seem to see it from a POV where it's embarrassing as a whole to our people. When you see things displayed like that, do you think that this is an embarrassment to you? Do you feel some type of way, or is it just a norm to you?
I think that I don't get embarrassed by other people's behavior that have nothing to do with me. I think that it's an issue that every time it's something bad, we collectively have to all, it affects all black people. No, it just affects her. She acted that way out of malice. We all on this panel know black people don't act like that all the time. But from my perspective, yes, she acted a fool, right? But I also think, like the lady who was telling the story, they had been waiting for over an hour. And I think that when she put everything into context, I would have been upset too. But I would have got off them people boat. Like, I'd have just grabbed my son and been like, hey, we're not gonna do this excursion today. Um, but I also feel like a part of me, it's not, to me, it's not entitlement, but I don't think that it was that necessary to embarrass her, right? I felt like they could have just let her sit on the boat and just ignored her. I feel like it didn't have to get to the point where they were lifting her out the boat. Like, man, if you want to sit on this boat till tomorrow, go right ahead. I just don't feel like that part was necessary. Like, for them to drag her, like, just let her sit there, because that's what I would have told them. Like, just let her sit there till tomorrow. Everyone else, you guys can go ahead and go to the beach. She's just gonna sit there. She would be living on the boat. I wouldn't have physically removed her or had her physically restrained, because at the end of the day, there was not really a crime committed. I think her son looked like he had on the wristband, so I feel like she just lost hers or forgot hers. And I think that just from a customer service standpoint, I would have just asked more questions like, "Did you forget it? Did you already purchase it? Because maybe she purchased it and literally just forgot it. And she's like, well, I purchased it. Like, is there a receipt? Can you show them digitally that you purchased it, but you just don't have it on? I just feel like there's so much more that could have happened. Um, the little boy crying over off to himself. I just don't think you do any of that in front of your kids. But I've popped off. Vaughn probably have too. We've all popped off in front of our kids. Like your kids are going to see you get upset. It's inevitable, right? I just had an incident last week where I popped off in front of my daughter, right? Because my daughter was disrespected. So essentially, I had to clear that up, right? So I think that kids experience things when it comes to their parents. Like we can try to shield them from reality, but like they're still gonna know what's going on. That he wasn't 3. Like he knows that's who his mama is. That wasn't the first time he seen his mama act that way. He knows who she is, and that's why he was so upset. Like here she go again, you know.
I think that everybody who is an adult or looks like an adult had the red wristband. The only person that I
He
saw
had a
had
green one.
green. He had a green one right there on his right hand, right wrist. But that might be because he's a minor. So I don't know if they're trying to distinguish, young minors who are
Oh yeah, who
accompanied by
control
adults
can't or
or and adults who have one, but she didn't have one herself. And if you're waiting an hour, to get on the boat, then and you don't have your wristband, and you're looking around, you see everybody has a wristband. They're like, oh, okay, like so I clearly forgot my wristband, or I didn't get a wristband. It's like something should click at some moment to tell you, like, oh, I think
So
I
I've
should
never been
probably.
on a cruise. Do you have to pay to go to the beach? I'm confused.
Don't
I've
you
never.
don't have to pay to go to the beach, but it's only like certain tourist area spots that you can go to. But if you do an excursion, you definitely have to have your wristband and show proof that you paid for it.
Yeah, and that's what they said. It was an excursion, so you do have to
Yeah,
pay for the excursions.
definitely have to pay for the
So y'all
excursions.
think
And
she
she
was
should
just
have
trying to
some
sneak
type of
her
receipt,
son
like you
on?
said.
So you think she
Yeah,
was just trying to sneak her and her son on for free and got caught? Is that what y'all
Mm,
think happened?
I'm not saying
Nah,
that,
you
but I
know how
would.
your people always trying to get over. You know how your cousins do.
yeah.
You think she was trying to sneak both? Well, but why would you have your kids involved in
Well,
trying to sneak?
Well, she might have found out later that you had to pay or it was something that was paid, and she might not have realized it and then want to go through the hassle of actually getting off, especially when you got your kids. But and when is enough. I don't think this is her first time acting
I
like
don't think
this.
it is
I mean,
either.
this seems a little bit extreme, even for a first time. So I'm okay with her being taken off. I mean, unfortunately, everybody has to suffer. It's almost like when somebody act like an idiot on an airplane. Yeah, they got to get up off there. Because if you don't stop her, then she's gonna probably continue to do this. Think about how many times people do things and they get away with it and they just keep on doing it. Like that is like kind of like bad behavior. There is something in her that's not telling her that she needs to pay. I'm pretty sure she probably knew. She probably it might have been one of those things where like, well, I ain't paying for this, they didn't do this, and it's just me assuming, right? But I've seen it happen where people just don't give a damn and they're gonna try to play the system by any means necessary. And she just got caught and they dragged her. Didn't want to she didn't want to live in that moment, so she acted her ass.
I would say one thing too. Like those boats typically have a head count. Like it's a capacity of 30, 40, whatever. And if they sold like, okay, the morning launch is at 8:30 in the morning and we sold 40 tickets for this boat. You can't put more than 40 because we'll be over capacity. There are other people who already purchased theirs who have been waiting in line. She's just happened to might be someone who forgot to get hers and was waiting in line. So by her staying on the boat, she's essentially taking somebody else's seat who already had paid, right? So that also becomes very unfair because those people also waited in line and have their wristband, and there's a capacity cap, right? Like as you can see, those seats only so many passengers, so there is no standing room. So that would also be a consideration to look at.
And most times, I'm sure she probably went to a travel agent, and they tell you have to pay for the excursions. That's part of the package. I'm sure they tell her if she went through a travel, even if you went through it online and you booked it online yourself, it's going to say in a print, any excursion, extracurricular activities, you have to pay for it. Man, she just tried to get over. She tried to sneak on her and slide by, and didn't matter if she was the kid was involved or not. Looked like the mammy was involved in the same situation. She was all for the dirt too. We all gonna get over. And if they say something, we gonna act like they didn't come to us. We gonna ignore them and play like we didn't hear it. But you know, the boy had a conscience about him. He got up off the boat with no hesitation. He knew, okay, if we get caught, we just need to go and get off. But now Mama said, no, I'm gonna fight this to the end. Like she's the goddamn black Rosa, the Rosa Parks of the cruise line. I'ma sit. I'm not going any goddamn where. This is my side. Look at a big ass. I'm not going. Ain't gonna make herself like dead weight. And the dude didn't want. You could look at the dude. He didn't want to touch her. He didn't want to be involved saying, well, he sexually harassed me. He tried to touch my breast. He tried to touch my booty. Nah, he said, I don't want no part of that bullshit. I'm gonna grab her stanky ass toes and we gonna drag this heifer off.
And I guarantee you she's gonna try to sue Carnival. I can
For sure.
bet money.
I just can't see them being that unprofessional, because if she booked through Carnival, I've never had an issue with having what I needed to go do an excursion. It's just, that's crazy to me. She definitely, to me, tried to sneak on.
Yeah, because these people are trying to upgrade you. If you buy the basic package and there are these other things, as excursions or upgrades that you could get it. They're always going to offer it to you. But if you elect to decline it and you don't buy it, then yeah, they're not gonna let people like get one off on them. At the end of the day, it's never nothing personal. It's just business.
Hey, I do got a question about Carnival. I never been on Carnival, but I heard Carnival was kind of hood. Would you guys recommend Carnival to anyone? Is it just random?
Carnival. Carnival's nice if you taking your family with kids, but if it's just you and your lady, I wouldn't recommend Carnival for nothing. I'm all for adult only cruises. No, if you, like I said, if you there with your family with the kids, okay, it's decent because you got a lot of these little motherfucking kids running around getting on your nerves, and then they being in the area where it's supposed to be adults only, but for some reason these little rugrats find their way to get over there somehow, some way. The security ain't trying to deter them or tell them, hey, you can't be over for adult only. I wouldn't recommend it for just you and your lady, but if it's you and your family, okay, cool. You and your lady, I would go Virgin.
I've done both. Just me and another adult, and then I've done the kids as well. So the one I did by myself, I actually didn't have any issues. I actually had a great time. We had reservations set. We had like probably a strict routine on what we did. So we kind of really stayed clear of like any kids. So I didn't have any issues. Besides, they run wild in the hallways. So, they're in the hallways when you're trying to go back to your room and things of that nature. But my overall experience was still good.
I mean, for families, I would recommend if you could swing the money, Disney cruise is probably hands down the best cruise, especially for families. It is pricey, don't get me wrong, but everything is included. Like you could lose your wallet, forget your money, and you will be good. Everything is included, right? So if you're looking for a particular type of experience, especially for family, I recommend that if you could swing it. Like King said, I would, for singles and couples, I definitely recommend Carnival. I mean Virgin. That's also a good spot. So
yeah, I've been on a couple cruises. I've been on Virgin. That was actually my first cruise, and the food was amazing. You didn't have to go to the specialty restaurants because everything was good. Also been with MSC, which was the first time that I experienced having to wait for an elevator. So it was crowd. It was kids that were able to board. The food was regular, medium. The specialty restaurant made a difference as far as with that, but I would probably never go on MSC anymore. They do have a boat that they just actually advertise, look like it may be pretty fun, but it was basic, man. Virgin hands down was good, and networking. People that want to stay away from the kids, unfortunately, get a better experience when it comes to networking. So, Virgin did have people that uh, had a little bit of intellect. I would say nothing against people that book Carnival. I just have no desire to go on Carnival at all, especially when I started with Virgin, and from what I see, it's just like it's just total chaos.
I just have no desire to cruise, and I think that's because I was on the Navy in the Navy, and I lived on a ship, and so it's never been my desire to go on a cruise. I'm like, I've already done that, and everybody be like, "Oh no, it's so much fun." I'll just fly to my destination. I mean, when you've been on tour for like 9 months, like in the middle of the ocean, you don't really have a desire to like come home and go get on a cruise ship. Like I just never had the desire to do that, and it just sounds chaotic. I mean, on an aircraft carrier, it's like 5,000 people. I don't know how many people are on a Carnival cruise, but it just looks incredibly crowded and stupid. Every time I see pictures and videos, I'm like, nah. I know I would be irritated. So that's why I was like, and Carnival is what the ghetto of the ships. Like I heard about Royal Caribbean. I never heard about Virgin. I heard about Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. Those are the two that people are like, if you're going to cruise, go there.
Yeah. Harrison Davis, member for 33 months, says that was a quality workout lifting her off the boat. Salute. If you haven't already hit the like button, also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and keep it moving. Here we go. There's that pop balloon episode. I got 2 parts to this. I split it up. So I'm going to play the first part, get you guys' reaction, and then we'll go to the second one. Here we go.
Josh, okay. And Josh, how old are you?
My name is Josh.
Josh, okay. And Josh, how old are you?
Well, I got 2 ages.
Oh.
All right. So chronologically, I'm 40,
Okay.
but biologically, I'm 35.
And how does that work?
Well, chronologically, it's like time,
Yeah.
and biologically, it's like health, health
Oh,
markers.
okay. So you're saying health-wise, you're 35. Okay. All right. We'll let you have it. And what do you do?
I work in the mental health field.
Nice. Very nice. What are some things you like to do for fun?
I like to work out, roller coasters. What else? I skydive before, read books. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And what do you look for in a woman?
All right, that's the first part, man. I'll go to you, Vaughn. What are your thoughts when you see that?
My thoughts were, I really feel like I question myself if she was really attracted to him, but her insecurities definitely overpowered that, and she popped it before he even, like, she automatically took herself out of what she thought was the competition. She didn't want to compete, or just didn't want to look like, okay, you choosing over the dark-skinned woman. I really feel like I would have left her balloon popped. You get yourself out, I would have left it out. So the whole show to me is crazy. How do you find that person in the matter of a few questions and you walk off into the sunset? I'm sorry.
All right, what about you, Aisha?
I agree with Vaughn on her insecurity. Like she counted herself out in her beauty before he even had a chance to do that. I can tell by the things that she said that yeah, she was in a traumatic relationship before, and it just her not seeing her value and how beautiful she is. It kind of is disheartening to me. But I think that that's the way society views dark skinned women. So we can't sit on here and pretend like she would have been his choice, right? I don't think that's who he would have chose. I'm just being calling a spade a spade. Like she looked at the panel. She was the only dark skin on the panel, right? So why in her mind, like, why would they choose her? She was everybody else is light and caramel, right? So I feel like she literally looked around and was like, I'm not as beautiful as these other ladies. So let me count myself out. When to me, light skin doesn't equal beautiful because they be looking ugly. Like light skin, you're just not cute because you're light skin. I know some ugly light skin people. So I think that she just hasn't had anyone to pour into her and to tell her, like, the lady's 37 years old, and at 37 years old, nobody has told you you're beautiful. Like, your skin is never going to crack because you have so much melanin in it. But she said a word, like, she said something that resonated with me. She said, you can't love someone into loving you. And when she said that, I was like, oh, yeah, she's been hurt. And it shows, like, her last relationship probably didn't love her or treat her the right way. She was just an option to him. And that showed. And I'll let one of the guys respond.
I got a question for the ladies though. Did you think it was? How did you feel about him responding, saying that he was on the show before and it didn't really matter what happened with that? Would you guys would have
That
wanted
would have made me
to
want to
happen?
pop my balloon because, like,
Yeah.
why are you back?
Yeah.
And then he was very vague. Like, if you're going to be on a show like that, literally, we want to know what happened. So
What
just saying it didn't work out, he should have been more specific. Him saying it didn't work out, to me, that's just like me being with a dude and dating somebody, and I'm like, well, what happened to the
What happened to your
last relationship? And they say, oh, it just didn't work out.
So you guys okay with that question? Because I know a lot of times when the men ask that question to the women, you have women that pop because they think it's just irrelevant. So you guys agree that that is a valid question if you are interested in dating someone, to get to know someone. What happened to your last relationship?
Absolutely.
That's a very valid question.
It's a big thing. It's a big question. That should be one of the first questions asked.
Because, you know, if you don't ask that question, they might still be married. You just never know. It's like, I've had someone say that to me, like, oh, no, I said, are you married? You got to be more specific with these guys. Oh, no, I'm not married. Kind of find out you living with your girl. You asked me if I was married. That's what we're not married, though. I'm like, you got to be careful. But I think that needs to be, if we're grown and you've been in a relationship, you know, you don't have to just tear the person down, because I don't believe in doing that either. But you can, if you're going to the next level with that person and they want to know genuinely what happened in the last relationship, I just think it's about honesty and full transparency. I feel like I want to know because it gauges me into knowing what kind of person you are. Or do you give up on relationship? Do you date multiple people? Like, it just opens up the door for me to just understand you more. You know what I mean? And also for me to not do the same things the other person did. Like, if you're telling me I broke up with her because I didn't like all of these things, then I can say, oh, well, I do all of those things.
Right.
It's probably not going to
gauge.
I broke up with her because she go out to me. Oh, this not gonna work. You know what I mean? So it gives you an idea of what you're dealing with beforehand, like relationship wise. I do think you should ask the question.
Absolutely.
Okay, gentlemen, how are we feeling about this? What are your thoughts?
Hank, man, notice how quick they pulled the okie doke on us. So I want to start off by preferences that I thought that woman was attractive. I thought she was very beautiful. She had a really nice, you know, in my culture, grigiosa, like she shines, right? There's something like about her that's vibrant. He was right on the eyes, and she also had a beautiful smile. Unfortunately, I tend to see and hear very often women kind of exclude or cut themselves out before they've even given themselves an opportunity, for fear of rejection or fear of someone not picking you. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That that's not your person, that's not your person. Why do you want to occupy a seat that doesn't belong to you? I'd rather sit down and allow that the next person be visible for the person that's rightfully for them. I don't understand why people want to be sitting in the middle of the line, blocking someone else's blessing, or wanting to be picked just for validation or vanity. It's okay. And also, too, how you talk and how you present yourself, give yourself an opportunity to be like, look, I'm so and so. These are the things that I care about. These are my value systems. This is how I grew up, et cetera, et cetera. Give your chance of somebody to see and hear you and actually resonate with you, because you'll be surprised how many people out there can see themselves within your story and they appreciate that, right? just saying like, oh, I like shopping and I like traveling on the weekends and stuff like that doesn't really give a whole lot of depth. And you can honestly see people who highlight the things that they really care about and they wear it on their sleeves. The other thing I want to kind of highlight is when I made the comment about the okey doke. Yeah, he was on the show before. I didn't see that show, so I don't know how that went or who he picked. But if he was on the show before and he thought he narrowed down somebody and they got into the thick of things and talking about, you know, family creation, logistics, living, you live in Houston, I live in Atlanta. Is there a middle ground? Do you work remote? You have those deep conversations and you realize like, oh man, like we're a little bit stuck in our ways. We don't I don't want to fold, you don't want to falter, you don't want to relocate. Now it becomes like, okay, who's going to give up leverage, who's going to give in, right? And I think that that's something that people sometimes don't take into consideration when we're actually vetting and talking to people, when we bring up these types of things, right? It's about life logistics, right? And the things that we want and how alignment. And saying that it just didn't work out it just pretty much sums up that our value systems and the things that we wanted don't quite align. Although I might be attracted and there's things that we resonate with, where we are at this moment in life, we just don't align. And that's okay. I mean, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have to be like, wow, he lied or she lied, and it's like this whole drama series. I don't think it has to be that complex. I think sometimes life be lifing and people just make decisions that are best for them at that moment of time, right? So I don't think that that's something that people need to dwell on. As far as just the overall show and people picking people, I really want women, especially a lot of dark-skinned women, a lot of black women, right? To really give themselves an opportunity to be seen and be heard in the light, not only just for to hear your discontent about something, but rather to be heard and give people an opportunity to see you. Because unfortunately what happens is that you retract your voice and you retract your presence because you've already been sold the preconception idea of what that person might think about you, what they might feel about you. And Aisha, you said something that our society has, this is how society views black women. I would counter that by disagreeing and say this is how society has conditioned certain people to think and believe that this is how they should perceive black women. And in reality, that's not the truth. I mean, colorism is a real thing. And I think that people need to understand that there are things that are much more beautiful than just dark skin. Are you?
All right, go ahead, Hank.
So it's obvious this woman didn't want to compete. And it's not normal and normal because most women don't want to compete. Most women do not want to compete for a man. They feel like it's not that they don't feel like they have to. Now maybe it's their ego. I don't know what it is. Don't feel like, but look, your ass better be like Nancy Kerrigan and take a heifer out by her knees to get a man if it's what you need to do. That's what you should be doing, but they're not doing that. So she counted herself out just because she looked up and down at Roe, especially if you got other characteristics that's very attractive. These light-skinned sisters may feel entitled, and he don't want a woman that's entitled. But you dark-skinned sister, you not entitled. You look beautiful. You keep yourself up. You talk like you got some goddamn sense. I'm gonna rock with you. But the thing about what happened on the last show, look, he shouldn't have that conversation right there in the middle of that. If you want to have that conversation, we can talk about it in the back, and we're gonna have more one-on-one time to talk and exchange and interact and all that. That's where that conversation should have had. You should have had it there. It's not must that you're gonna go with whoever. Even though I picked you, don't mean we're gonna stay together. Don't mean things are gonna work out. Because I like Louise says, I can learn some things about you that I may not like that really wasn't able to be discussed on the show. So we're able to talk in private, one-on-one, and I can ask you more questions. I can interrogate you more. I can find out and get some more background about you more that I may like or that I may not like. And so it just didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen. Up front, we was cool. I thought we was a match. But once I got you back here and I started asking more questions, I didn't like what I was hearing, so I'm gonna move on. That's just like people dating. Just because I'm dating you don't mean you're gonna be my wife one day. You may not, but it just happens. I went out on a date, it didn't work, so be it. Move on to the next one. Just like this show, same way. I went out on a date, didn't like what I was hearing. I moved home. She moved on. I moved on. That's that. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. I didn't really like how she canceled herself out. She is beautiful. You know, she's not an ugly woman, but I think society, the way society views women in color, I think they typically put lighter women on a pedestal, unfortunately. But there are some sexy Black sisters out there. I think a lot of people are insecure, both men and women. I think people are not comfortable in their own skin, and they're really concerned about what everybody else views them. I don't care. You know, one of the things that I've been able to do throughout my lifetime is just accept who I am. It is what it is. Some people gonna like it, some people not. I don't know one person that exists where everyone finds them attractive. Even the people that do have a lot of options, there's somebody out there that finds them not attractive for whatever reason, right? I've been able to accept I'm bald head. My hair ain't growing back. It is what it is. So if you're looking for somebody for some hair, it ain't gonna happen here. I'm not getting no surgeries. I ain't doing nothing. I'm just bald head. I got a beard. You know, I've been able to make up the difference some way, somehow. And I just bet off my strengths, man. It is what it is. But I would never allow another human to be able to dictate how handsome I am. I know I'm handsome. I'm a good looking brother. Can't nobody else tell me nothing else about it, man. I carry myself well. And I'm happy with myself. We can't control the way that we are born and how we look. So I'd be damned if I allow another human to tell me that I'm this or that. I'm going to keep rocking the way I am, and I'm going to exist the way I exist. I got another part to this that I'm going to play.
All right, Josh, we've got 4 girls left. Go ahead and ask them another question. Sorry, 4 ladies.
Okay. Wow. What's the best advice someone's ever given you throughout the course of your whole life?
I'm not trying to be on trend here, but my best advice came from my stepdad. He's an amazing man of God, and he just explained to me the power of grace. In a generation where we're all lost and people feel like maybe they're not good enough to go to Christ or to come, and the people that are in the church are condemning and pushing them away. He expressed to me giving and getting grace, and how the grace of God is enough for all of us. Mm-hmm. So that alone just kind of changed my mindset, and I noticed that I kind of operated and feeling like I didn't have to fix it myself, but just to spend time with God, surrender what I do desire, and everything's fallen in place since.
If blocking your blessings was a person, man, they should show him this meme. JR, it's amazing to me how, if you really trust the process, I've had to mentor and kind of mold my sister this past couple months, especially when she lost her job, and I try to give her insight in terms of what she needed to do, the things she has to work on. Don't let time pass. Like, you'll get back onto the saddle. This is just a temporary roadblock, right? Trust the process, right? Do the things that you're supposed to do. Trust the process. Weeks go by, no results. Trust the process. Another week goes by, somewhat better. Trust the process, and then boom, like the phone can't stop ringing, and the emails just keep piling. But trust the process. You have to be in it in order to get the type of results you want. Unfortunately, we've created a very poorly mentally trained society of people, even adults too, that if I don't get it on the first try, it's not for me. If this doesn't happen the first time, if he doesn't give me butterflies, or if he didn't bring not a dozen roses but 2 dozen roses, I don't think he's interested in me. And you really block your blessings, and you really remove people who actually were trying to show up in a particular type of way with a genuine effort, just because you have this perceived idea of what it should be without allowing it to evolve with what it could be. You know what I'm saying? This is your plan, and this is God's plan. And you unfortunately keep blocking God's plan because you think your plan is much bigger than his. Hey, you.
Okay.
Yeah, the crazy thing is about that last girl, she wanted to know why did he need some self time, and a woman like that is dangerous because this man is telling you he needs some time for himself. Why? And she will continue to ask why. She will ask about, he'll give you 4 or 5 reasons, but why? And then if he breaks down, baby, it's because of you. You're getting on my goddamn nerves, and I need some time to my goddamn self. But I didn't want to say that. I just said I need some time. But since you want to drag it out of me, there it is. Well, what did I do? Now he's got to go into a whole speech. He's not getting his alone time. He's not being able to get his mental self in a good space because this woman won't continue to ask him why. Ladies, trust a man and believe what he's saying. If he says, I need some time to myself, he's not on the watch. He doesn't need you to take all sharp objects away from him because he's afraid he's going to cut his goddamn wrist. And man just needs some time and he needs some peace. Give him that moment, come back later, and he will express to you what's going on. If you feel like he can trust and believe in you. Now, if he can't, well, you got a different problem.
Hank, the problem is this is what I've learned, and this is what I've kind of come to understand. When you tell a woman that you need some space, it's not that you need space from the relationship or space from her at all. It's just that you need some time to yourself to decompress or unload whatever things you got going on. Remember, most men are trying to take care of and provide for a family, work, get are also members in the community or participate and do other things in other facets. They have planning of doing things. There's a lot of responsibilities on you, right? And sort of it becomes overbearing. And I've experienced this to myself. And sometimes I just don't want to talk to people, man. I just need a day to kind of like get my shit together and get things off my mind. And then I could come back because when I come back to you, I'm not coming back to you as half the person that I am. I'm trying to come back as 100% of I am. But if you don't give me a little bit of space for I to take care of what I got to do, then you're never going to get the best version of me. But they take that as in, I need time to sit back and think about whether I want to be in this relationship and reflect whether you're the type of person that I can see the rest of my life with. That's really what they're thinking. It's not really that, oh, he has a lot on his plate or there's some things he has to work out.
I think that that's cool when you're dating. But when you're in a marriage, you don't get to check out on your marriage. I don't know, like, why y'all having this conversation because you don't get to say, I mean, he's married, like, right? Like, yeah, I'm sure you go to the basement and you decompress, right? When you're married, you know the difference from somebody telling you, I just need a minute, I'm having a bad day, right? Your husband goes to the basement, drink his beers, watch football, you do your thing, right? That's different from someone telling you that they need
Need
space. You
space.
can't have space in a marriage. That's impossible, right? So I think that when women hear that, we like, what does that even mean? What does that look like, right? So I think that words are important. So it's not that you need space, like you said. I need some time to decompress. All you can do in my house is go to the other room. Like if you're if you need some space, go to the other room because we need space. We need time to decompress as women too, right? We have things that stack up a lot. And I don't ever remember like telling my husband like I need some time to like be by my like what? I, I don't think that happens in a marriage. Like you don't get to do that or say that. But if you dating somebody, yeah, you could be like, oh, I need some time, but it's still gonna feel the same and feel the same to women. Like I'm still gonna perceive that a certain type of way, right? I could know because I'm one of the people. I'm like, okay, you having a bad day. I'm gonna send encouraging words or whatever. But you're not gonna ghost me. Like I need some form of I'm doing okay. I am not that young lady seems like she's very attached, right? She's one of those ladies that like you gotta check in. I'm not that type of person because please don't call me more than twice. Okay? I get an attitude. That's mine. Don't call me more than 2 times unless somebody's dying. But she seems like she gets attached to people. I don't tend to have an attachment style like that towards my man. But I also think we have to be careful, man, when you're telling your woman you need space. Because you're gonna tell her you need space and 2 weeks later she gonna be in the Bahamas. I'm just saying. Like, what kind of what kind of space do you need? We dealing with the same pressures of life, so I think that we're supposed to come together and figure it out. But to just tell me, oh, I need some space, like he told her, like, oh, it's times when I just need my space. Needing your space is different from just needing to clear your head or needing to decompress. If somebody say I need space, that means you go over there, I go over here. When you're in a relationship, it's about y'all coming together. And when you start using words like that, it creates division.
I agree, Aisha. It's just unfortunately there's a vocabulary is very important, and people unfortunately really use the wrong words to describe what they really want, right? Needing space and needing to clear your head is absolutely you hit it right on the head, right? It's just like, hey man, I got this presentation tomorrow and I really need to focus. Like I just need some, you know, alone time in my room so I could get this done and out of the way because it's plaguing me, right? Versus like I'm gonna move 2 towns over for me to really think about my life and everything else. And those are two things that are completely different. But the way we have a very lazy way, and I'm including myself too, lazy way of expressing and communicating to our partner or our people or friends about what we really mean. We're just not being direct about it. We're using very coy language like need space or it's very vague. Even him, like one thing, like I will say this. I think the thing that was going well for him is that he's a tall, striking, strong man, right? Beard, etc. So he's an attractive man, respectfully attractive individual, right? To most women on there who didn't pop their balloons right away. And but he was very unsure of himself in a lot of ways. He was like, mm, yeah. It's like I just felt I was like, bro, I don't even know if you're serious. I don't even know if you're serious about your own position. And I'm trying to give you a little bit of grace about family. You know what I'm saying? Do you see yourself married? You know, what does vacation look like? What does this look like? You know what I'm saying? Do you go to church? Are you a spiritual woman? Like these things, you got to be quick with it. You have to have a strong conviction about who you are and say these things like if it was second nature. He was just kind of like very lackadaisical, very nonchalant with it. And if he was any other guy, I think they will all have popped. Respectfully, I just think they will all have.
And I think that the other ladies pop because they seen the chemistry that they had in the beginning. So it's kind of like what he gave her a lot of props. You know what I mean? So I feel like that could have possibly been the reason why she was last because they're like, because I would have probably popped like, let me just give her man, like you know, that's what I feel. And I don't know if you guys ever experienced it, but like the clingy lady, I don't know how that works out for men, especially men that work in business. Like the need for a woman to always need reassurance. She seems like that type, and I think he probably didn't want her. Like he said, she's too clingy. I don't know why women get clingy like that, but definitely. How do
Especially
you
over
guys handle?
people
What if
you.
someone's clingy but you like them? How do you handle that?
So I
Exactly what
think
he
there.
said. I need a little, well, the wording, I agree with Lewis. The wording definitely does matter. Words and how you use them and how the person interprets it is big because you can say something and I'll take it the wrong way. So if you're clingy and I'm not, but I like you, so I feel like you have to use your words very well. Like we two different people. We're not the same. So what you need is not what I need. And you have to really deliver that very well. Otherwise, yeah, I agree with Lewis and you. You know, if your words are saying I need space, then a woman is definitely going to take it offensive. So, and I understand that everybody needs their own little time and space. I feel like women can be clingy, and like I don't feel like even the clingy people don't need a second. Like you need a second.
It there's I want to say something about clingy. I think there's a two-part to it. There's one thing to have like love and admiration for your person, right? Like they just got home and you see each other. This is why good morning text or good morning conversation before you leave the house, and then you don't have no communication throughout the day, and then once you get home it feels like you haven't seen or talked to each other in forever. So that magic and that moment of seeing each other it does a greater job of uniting each other's sort of like emotional and tendencies versus like you talk in the morning, coffee break, lunch, on the leaving the office, in the car, before I got into the house and parking the car in the garage, right? It just removes a lot of the mystery. It removes a lot of the magic out of the romanticism between the two people, because we're constantly talking that we don't be like stop to think about like, damn man, yo, she looks so amazing in that dress that we went over dinner last week. Yo, you know what would go great with? Yeah, I saw this bracelet the other day, man. I think that looked good with my woman. You spend more time thinking about little things that you catch on that maybe in the moment you didn't bring up or say, but you replay things to yourself, and you're like, wow, man, like in that. But you remove all that because you're constantly talking throughout the day, like you're afraid that this person might disappear off the face of the earth, and it's just it doesn't do any justice to the relationship.
I'm not clingy, but I do like to talk to my man throughout the day. Like I work from home. I am like, I'm gonna call you. What are you doing throughout the day? I need to talk to you before you get home. I want to talk to you all day, but I am like the least clingy person ever. But I do like to talk, so I guess that's just a part of who I am. You know what I mean? Like I like to talk. I like to have conversations. I want to know what's going on. But I'm probably my ex partner. I'm probably the least clingy that he's ever had. Like, go do your thing, because when it's time to do mine, yeah, I know I'm outside.
I had a question. How did you guys feel about her questioning? Do you think it was a red flag? Sometimes I'm okay with questions, but I think the type of question that somebody asks as a man, I may be on high alert.
What did you think was the red flag? She asked him, "Did he want to have kids?" That's something she might want to have kids.
When somebody's asking like a series of questions, like all at like one time, it kind of alarms me to think that there's some sense of urgency or maybe some type of traumatic experience may have happened. Because if you're asking like all these questions like back to back, almost like it's the drill,
I
then
get what you're saying,
yeah,
but in the timing she had on the show, I have to ask back to back to back to back. I need to see if I need to pop or walk off with you.
mhm.
Oh, but in real life, I feel like those back to back questions definitely can be like that. It's almost like you in a job interview. So it's just I feel like it should flow. Or if we're having a good conversation, certain topics are going to come up, and then those when them questions should be asked. They didn't have to be immediately, but on a show like that, it's immediate.
I think she definitely had a bad relationship experience in her
Hmm.
last relationship, because she's talked about him not loving her the right way or whatever, right? So she's definitely one of those women that is on the search for a specific type of man. Like she's done her therapy, okay?
Hmm.
She knows what works for her, what does not work for her. And so I think that she's on a journey for a specific man. But the thing about it is that doesn't always come out until later. You don't know anybody until you actually went through something, right? My mom would always tell me, you don't know that you love a person until you went through something terrible with them. And then you'll see who they really are. You have to go through something to be something. This is just a dating show. She definitely has been through a tumultuous relationship, and it shows. It shows that she's guarded. She has her watch. She literally, you know, cut herself out in the beginning. So I don't know if she's ready or if she really wants to be in a relationship. I feel like she wanted to pop her balloon, even in the end.
I had this conversation with somebody as far as traumatic experiences. I personally, and it's just my opinion, believe that people do not necessarily get over their trauma. I think that they learn how to regulate how they respond to it, but I think the traumatic experience is always there. So when people's when people are looking for healing, I don't think healing will ever truly come. If you really think about it, right? If somebody has ever done something bad to you before, you don't forget about it. It comes to your headspace. You will think about it, but you may decide whether it's appropriate or not to be able to express in this fashion. You may choose to withhold because it's not going to get anywhere. It may be those hauntings coming back. And that's something that we will probably never know because some people can mask it pretty well. But to sit here and say as a human that these thoughts don't cross your mind, like they would never cross your mind. That's why I say the foundation is always important. So even if you've gone through some things, you got to understand that the foundation is always important when you enter relationships, because if it's been tainted, you will never get that version of that person ever again. It will
I think
never exist.
I have to disagree. I think that healing looks like peace. I'm not a person that harbors things or sits on things. If I genuinely tell you I forgive you, I forgive you. I don't harbor things. I don't hold on to things. And when I think about healing, I feel like healing brings you peace, right? So when you think about it, like I lost a daughter, right? I lost a child. I'm never gonna forget that. But I'm peaceful about it. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't, it's like it's almost like peace. Like I used to never be able to say her name. I can say her name and smile now. So I think when you think about healing, it brings you a sort of peace in those situations. Like, yeah, it might cross your mind as a life lesson. Like, yeah, I've been here before, but to me, it's just more of a peace with it. You make peace with that decision. You make peace with things that happen in your life, so they don't affect you on a mental level. And that's the way I look at healing. Like through healing, I just learned how to be a peaceful person and just, let certain things go. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't determine my next move, but I know that those things exist. So I do believe in healing, and I think that people can be healed. I mean, I feel like I've seen it, with my own eyes. For those of us that are believers, but I think that it's going to make your character. Every time you get a lick, it builds character. So I think that those things are what builds our character. But you can definitely heal from those things.
Hmm. Okay. You guys haven't already hit that like button, also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Appreciate everybody that is tuning in right now. We should send me that, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play it before we go.
Beautiful black celebrity women ranked. Number 8, Gabrielle Union. She is a talented actress and activist, known for her roles in Bring It On and Bad Boys 2, as well as her advocacy for social justice. Number 7, Jessica Lucas. She rose to fame for her stellar performances in Cloverfield and The Evil Dead, proving her versatility in television and film. Number 6, Paula Patton. Best known for Precious, she captivated audiences with her energetic performances and timeless beauty. Number 5, Megan Good. A Hollywood favorite who impressed with her roles in Eve's Bayou and Think Like a Man, she is stunningly talented and beautiful. Number 4, Lauren London. Praised for her roles in ATL and The Game, she also impresses with her effortless charm and natural elegance. Number 3, KD Aubert. She's a model and actress who has appeared in films like Next Friday, as well as making waves in the fashion world. Number 2, Zoe Saldana. She is the star of Avatar and Guardians of the Galaxy and is admired for her powerful performances and amazing aura. Number 1, Tatiana Ali. Best known for her role as Ashley Banks in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, she has also made her mark in music and publicity.
Louise, who made this list? Because nobody was foundational except for Gabrielle. Like, I don't even think them was black. Like, who was on there that was black besides Gabrielle and Megan Good?
Yeah, who,
Like, those were
who,
not
just
black
who?
women. I'm sorry.
Who's in charge of that list?
Who made that list? Because I could like name 5 of them off the top of my head that are foundationally black, beautiful, and are well respected in Hollywood. So where did that list come from? We can start with Kelly Rowland, okay? We can start with a lot of different people who are way better up there. I love me some Viola Davis. I love Kerry Washington. Like, it's so many actually black women. Those people weren't. We had 2 black people on there. And I feel like Megan Good has gotten lighter over the years because she used to be darker. I don't know what happened with that, but no, I don't know where Hollywood that is. That's not black Hollywood. You know, it's two different versions of Hollywood. What you think, Hank? Them was your black. You would have chose them.
Not knowing these women's history, I wouldn't.
Period.
Brother, we stay calling you out, man.
Yes, they are. Hey, you know, I guess there are two different Hollywoods, you know, but again, you know, it's interesting because there are the ones that you tend to kind of see and hear every day that are kind of like always in your face. They're like the movies, commercials, and stuff, very commercialized, very popularized, and then there are the ones who do amazing things that are not always in front of the camera and always in the limelight, but their presence is always known or talked about. Maybe not at the high level like some of the more favored celebrities, but yeah, that list was rough, but gives you an insight.
Okay.
I think that Hollywood is actually doing a better job than they have years ago as far as the representation of Black women. They are starting to choose, you know, darker skinned women to play lead roles and things of that nature. But I still think we have a long way to go. But we totally get the message and understand that, like, the beauty, you know, the beauty standard in Hollywood, like what it looks like. We all know what the beauty standard is, but I'm always like, who came up with the beauty standard? Because to be honest, all the white men want us. Like they make Hollywood beauty standard out to be this thin, light skinned or white woman, but in reality, most of the white men go for the darker skinned Black women. Ow.
Well, maybe, but maybe. Hold on, I wanna go back to that. Maybe the American version of beauty standard is really it's being modeled after a Eurocentric version, right? Like, you know, we have an international way of viewing it, and then obviously we have here, because if you, depending on where you travel in here in the States and ask most men, they're gonna tell you like what they're interested in. You know what I'm saying? And it varies. But I think on an international level, in terms of like who created the beauty standard, well, who created all the beauty pageants, who created all the competitions, who created all the standardizations of what goes into Vogue, what goes into what magazine, who gets to be put on
So
television.
those companies are ran by gay men. I'm gonna just throw that out there.
Oh, I'm pretty
Like,
sure that they
the high
are.
fashion is the industry is owned by gay men. They are the ones that are there,
What?
those women putting on. Like, if you have you ever been to like a fashion show or like been to New York Fashion Week? Gay men. I cannot make this up. Like, they run Hollywood, the industry. They're the ones that are behind the scenes, getting people like those people created the standard. That's how, like, the gay men, they create, like, even the accentuated makeup, all of that little drag, you know, the little drag look, all that come from the LGBTQ community.
Period.
They have their claws in the fashion industry, and it's hard to break through.
We did have AP Accountability Partner with the $20, says Aisha. That shaping of your character is part of what JR was talking about. The trauma helps shape who you are, and in that respect, it stays with you. Shout out to the panel. Thank you, Mr. AP. Appreciate that, sir. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Moving on, Paul Pierce got a podcast with a young lady, and he talked about a man's peace. Let's go ahead and play this clip.
What do you mean it's too cracking right now for you to want to have a relationship?
Because I like my peace, first of all.
What if a woman brings you that?
There's no such thing as that.
You don't think there's no such thing as a woman bringing
There's
man
no
peace?
such thing as somebody living with you on a day-to-day basis is bringing peace. It's always going to be something, because you're going to have a bad day where I'll have a good day, and that's not going to be peaceful for me. I'm gonna come home like, damn, baby, like I had a good. Something gonna happen to where you gonna hijack my emotions. So that's not peaceful. You feel me? Peace is peace. And peace is me by myself. I come home, I watch TV, I make my own food, I go to bed, I work out, I wake up at 5:30, I roll over in the bed, I lean this way, I fart, or whatever I do, whatever, in my bed, that's peace. I'm cool. I can let loud snore, whatever. I ain't got nobody complaining about nothing.
Yeah, and I do feel you on that. Even as a woman, for
feel
me,
me?
no, I feel you. Even as a woman, it's like I have my stuff where I want it. I have my clothes where I want it. I put my stuff in the bathroom.
When I come home, you move my charger, and I'm looking for my charger. Like, where my charger at? Like, damn. Like, oh, I took it. Like damn. Like, come on, man.
But I will say this though, your perspective on relationships are quite negative, and for me,
it's not negative. It's realistic.
It's realistic, right? But there is a lot of positive things that you can gain from being with a partner. Like partner, to me, in 1 and 1 coming together is 11, which is a master
What's
number.
the
and it's
positive thing?
Let me talk, and I'm gonna tell you.
All right, go ahead.
I think that if you're truly with someone that speaks life into you and gives you power and purpose before you go out into the world, that genuinely can help change the way that you move through life. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have a woman that is positive, that is motivational, that is nurturing, that really, really cares and loves for you in a deep way, a love from a woman is powerful. It can literally change everything. And I feel like you just have not got the opportunity to experience that yet. And I don't want you to count yourself out from having that, because it is possible.
So how you telling me this and you ain't got no man?
Oh.
Go ahead, Hank.
God dang. Boy, that last boy, that killed her out, didn't it?
That was a bar. That was a bar.
Look, let me say, if you find the right woman, that I believe they can bring you peace. But a lot of men are not fortunate enough to find that. And so, you know, the woman they find, they settle for them. They looked at the aesthetics and they was good with that. Even though the red flags was there, and he passed up on knowing she had a slick mouth about it. You know what I'm saying? He watched how she talked to her friends and some of her co-workers. You seen all that, and you was thinking to yourself, well, she talking to him, she ain't talking to me. She ain't gonna talk to me like that. And lo and behold, 2 months down the road, the trash didn't go out. She talking 10 hair crazy to this dude. Oh, he forgot what he's supposed to bring home, a gallon of milk. Yeah, he getting all that goddamn smoke. Ain't you know? So fellas, you got to make sure you pay attention to the red flags. If a woman's acting like it's like, you know what I'm saying, like we was talking about, you telling you need some time to compress, to gather your thoughts. You had a hard day at work, and she keeps giving you the third degree. She's interrogating, well, why, what happened, what? He may not be ready to talk about it at that moment, but guess what? She's added on to the stress. So he already had that stress he dealt with at the workplace. Now he's coming home thinking, hoping and praying, you know, saying she's going to have some level of understanding, and she's doing just the opposite. Now it's even worse. The reason why it's worse, because it's somebody who I love and I appreciate and who are blessed with my last name. And now she's pouring on into my cup that's already overfilled. My cup runneth over. And she's flooding the area because she's pouring more into me that I can't handle no more than I already got. Now I know the good Lord said he's not going to put on me no more than I can handle. But Lord, I don't know about this. I need you right now. She's killing me, Lord. What am I supposed to do with this woman? Fellas, you got to pay attention to stuff like that. You have to make yourself aware. And when you see this, you need to move accordingly. I'll leave it there, Jay.
I think he's speaking from a place of pain. I think some woman has hurt him, honestly. This kind of reminds me of when I hear women speak and they speaking from a place of fear as well. They had a bad experience, and so now moving forward, they think that there's no hope within that area. I disagree. I've seen some women that can give you peace, and I've seen some women that can give you hell. So I think that both do exist. It comes down to who you choose and who you surround yourself with. Some people can't help the fact that they are attracting toxicity. It is what it is, right? And I think that they get used to it, and when they get used to it, it gives them the illusion that you can't exist on the other side, whatever that side may be for you. But if you've had some good experiences with women, along with bad, then it all depends on your mindset at that point. Just because I had some bad experience with women doesn't mean that I put them all in one category. I always tell people it's better to equip yourself with as much information as you can. So whatever situation you find yourself in, you know how to navigate that. So if you have someone that may be a little bit more headstrong, but she may be submissive at the same time, how you handle it. Because that you can't run into a woman that has those attributes. If someone is just straight submissive, then I've seen them where they're so catering to a man that they dumb. So like, how do you navigate that balance of finding somebody that has a little bit of substance, but not so aggressive in their role? So I think he's speaking from a place of pain. I think that he's come to a place where he hasn't been able to attract some women that likes him for him, maybe women that like him for his money. And so when you have that scenario, it is a little bit different for a man. You can't really see clear past that because that's just your experience. So it's unfortunate. But go ahead, Luis.
I think you summed it up towards the end. He just hasn't experienced the type of woman that likes him for who he is and not for just for his money. Um, I think that I think he's living an experience that most men who don't have the kind of the celebrity status or the money access, it's a completely different experience. And I think once you live a certain type of lifestyle, you experience a certain type of woman over and over again because although you like her, but she might be liking you for something else other than who you are. And for some men, that's something they never really know how to quite differentiate.
I think that they need to take him and Cam Newton's mic away. I think that these men that are celebrity and have been literally since their high school years. I mean, they haven't had to do anything to appease a woman or anything that they felt as an inconvenience. They never had to do it since they were in high school. They've been athletes their entire lives. I actually used to be a Celtics fan. Shout out to the Celtics. Back when him, Rondo, Ray Allen, they were all the starting lineup. That was a while ago. Um, but I'm really surprised that he feels this way. Because I just feel like them getting these mics and talking to regular normal people is hindering the relationships because normal people don't experience the same thing that they've been experiencing since high school, which are women that give them everything, but they're also only there because you play basketball, because you have something to give. You're not gonna find peace from a woman that doesn't even really know you. She's not there to know you. She's there to take your money and feed off you. I think he has a kid, right? Doesn't he have a kid? I want to say he has a kid. So he has a baby mama. So I just feel like he was reckless in his attempts to find relationships. And now, because some of these men, I'd be like, well, just be gay. You gay. If you were on this platform and saying that a woman can't bring you peace, you probably like men and don't realize it yet. I'm pretty sure when he with his homeboys, he not like, ah, my homeboys don't bring me peace. It's just something weird about a man that would ever say that. And I think that black men do that as a cop out because they know that genuinely black women are aggressive and that we have this thing about us where we might not always be peaceful. So I think that when they say certain words, it's just like using the word urban instead of ghetto. You know what I mean? So now they're using this, oh, I just need peace. I just want my peace. And it's just like saying, I don't want a black woman. I don't want a black woman. That's all I'm hearing. So find you someone that is submissive to you, that brings you peace. Because you talk about you want to be able to roll around in your bed and fart. You never did that in your prior relationships where you holding them in. Like, what are you even talking about? That has nothing to do with your peace of mind. You being able to wake up and do what you want to do, you should be able to do that anyway. So that's why I'm like, I'm confused on what he means by peace.
That's the same way that we hear a lot of women speak about when they come to men as well. So you see how it sound on the other side. That's the reason why I say it seems similar to like what we hear from women when they've gone through these painful experiences. Because I wholeheartedly believe that nobody desires to be alone. I think that based off their experiences and the trauma that they have, this is the conclusion that they come with. It's easy to rest in knowing how to predict situations and outcomes. And the only way you can truly do that is if you with self. But when you are in a relationship, it involves other people and other sacrifices and consideration. And so that's where the work comes in. And a lot of people don't want to do the work that comes with it. Even any relationship requires work. It doesn't matter if it's romantic, work, family, they all require work of some sort. And so many people are lazy. I think somebody mentioned earlier, they have a lazy mindset and people just want things that come easy. But if you truly understood what it means to have a relationship, y'all are complete opposites. Y'all are not mirroring yourselves. You are not family to yourselves, and you are not working with yourself. So there's going to be somebody that has a different upbringing experience that you have to coexist with. So it is what it is. That's just what comes with relationships. And if you can find a place of peace with knowing that this is how relationships thrive, this is how they work, then I don't believe that you would overcomplicate relationships. Go ahead, Vaughn. We'll go ahead and finish with you.
I agree. I feel like it's in relationships, it's going to be two different people, and your peace comes from how you guys work well together because it's a team. So him sitting there in his robe on a show, to me, in the first place, like he got this red velvet on and he's just sitting there like with his glasses and talking about how a woman is not your piece, when in reality I think it's because he has money. This money, he's come across these women that only, first of all, I think his personality is disgusting. He's disgusting to me, how he talks, how he's delivering things. I just don't think any woman that has come across him really cared about anything to do with him. It's just, oh, he has money, so I'm going to be with him, or whatever I can get out of the situation, I'm going to get it. So I'm not here to try to be your piece. I'm here to try to get your money, and I'm getting out of here. Like, I don't even want to know about you because of how he's coming to you. He's so privileged and he's so just it's
I want to know what peace looks like for him.
Yeah,
right?
like what is it?
So he has three. So he was married. So he was married. He's divorced now. He has an ex-wife, but he was married. He has 3 children. Two, I believe, 2 young boys and 1 girl, or 2 girls and 1 boy. And it's interesting because I don't know when he got divorced or when that happened, but I do remember being at Tangerino's in Charleston, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Boston, at a Middle Eastern spot, and he came there after the game with one of his boys, and they put him in an exclusive spot with me, and because I knew the owner or whatever, and he came in with 2 other chicks. You know what I'm saying? 2 other white chicks too at that. So when you see the other video about when he made the comment about that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because I've never seen him with his wife, but I know he was married. She was never really in the kind of like in front of the cameras, but I've seen them out and about, you know. So I mean, it kind of talks about two different. I think he experienced marriage, and because he was always on the road, and being a basketball wife is tough. I don't think that like a lot of women know what they're signing up for. They see the highlight reels and everything, and it looks fun, but like being away for weeks at a time, road games and stuff like that, it is tough, and especially if you have kids, like yeah, that's tough. Like some people don't understand what they're signing up for.
Yeah, I think it's difficult for anybody to really speak on marriage and be able to paint a clear picture on what it looks like. So I think you on the receiving end, when you getting this information from people, from marriage couples, you have to be able to still process it and think it through and tailor it to your situation, because everybody is different. So somebody can say, well, these are the things that are good. This is what's good. But after you receive it, what are you doing with that information? Because once you receive it, you have to be able to learn how to apply it in a way where it makes sense in your marriage. It makes sense with the person that you're with. And I think a lot of people don't do that. They may hear things and just run away with it without tying it all together where it makes sense for your particular situation. So you can date somebody, and I give you an example. You could date somebody and you will never date that same person ever again. It could be one variable, at least one variable will throw it completely off, where you have to reevaluate how you're going to come into this relationship. And that's why I think
That's why I don't date Libras. I don't date Libras. Like,
you know, they who?
Libras. What?
I'm not into the signs like that, but I do think that you have to wake up and choose to do right by that person and choose to conquer that day versus you trying to have it all figured out. And that's where a lot of people who have traumatic experiences run into these situations, because they think they're going to have it all figured out because based off of their experience. And so when they come into it, now they have these high expectations, and it's like, no, this is a completely different person. This person is not the same person that you had the fair relationship with. And so now your outlook on what it looks like is skewed. So that's why I think people don't really understand how these things are supposed to work. It's not complicated. Different person, different outcome. You can still get to the same result, but it's going to be a different path. But that all depends on you as well. It's not just that person, because if you think about relationships, it requires both of you guys to have a certain mindset and to come together in a certain way. But when you are selfish, it's going to be hard to be able to produce these results, because selfishness doesn't thrive in any if you want to thrive, you can't have selfish in a relationship. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree with you. I agree that a lot of people that I meet, especially guys, they don't want to work. Like, they don't want to put the work in to have a
It's
relationship.
not just a man thing.
I feel like all I hear is, like Pop here said, I want my peace. Men like peace. And when I hear that, to me, again, it means that I don't want no problems. I don't want you coming up in here being loud. I don't want it. Like, I don't want nothing. I just want my life to continue the way that it's been. That's impossible in a relationship. It's literally impossible. So you can't say, I want to be in a relationship with a person, even if you're just friends, right? Even friendships, and you just expect everything to be smooth sailing. You guys are two different people, two different worlds. The last experiences you had is not with this person. And so I think that, like I said, when I hear that I want peace, where it literally triggers me. Because I also think that you have to have peace inside yourself before I get here. I shouldn't be the one bringing you peace. You should already have that. You should already be in peace, in yourself. You know, come to me already healed. I don't want to have to fix you. I don't want to have to start changing and fixing myself based on you needing this that peace. Because what happens is, as women, when we hear that, we immediately start trying to figure out what's wrong with us, what I need to change. He's unhappy. He says it's not peaceful around here. So we keep trying to like change ourselves and keep trying to evolve into whatever this peace that he wants. But essentially, the peace means I don't want to work for shit. I don't want to go through shit. I just want to just continue my life as if we weren't in a relationship, like it was when I'm by myself at home. Like he said, when he's by himself at home, he has no problem. And I think that men like that should just remain single and stop love bombing women.
So are you saying that men who
I,
want
I,
peace to be delusional in that sense?
You saying what? I didn't hear the
You
first.
you said that it's not possible. So are you saying that men who want or seek that are delusional?
No, what I'm saying is that you have to have that peace within yourself, because I don't think that that's something that I can give. I'm peaceful anyway, right? But if me vacuum the floor or me laying on the side of the bed affects your peace, that wouldn't affect, you know what I mean? Like I can't be with somebody. It's gotta be peaceful around here. Not in a
yeah.
relationship.
See,
It's not gonna
I
always.
think that's
Go ahead.
no, I think that's the problem because y'all thinking he's talking about quietness all the time. No, that's not what he's talking about. What he's talking about, he don't want you women to bring goddamn issues. That's what he's talking about, bringing peace. He don't want you to bring a lot of goddamn issues. I shouldn't be have to like in his situation, he's married. So say he got with you, Aisha, and you have kids, he got kids. He shouldn't have to deal with your baby daddy's drama. Don't bring that shit to him. He don't want to have to deal with it. That's what he's talking about when he said he want peace. Not that, oh, this house has to be quiet 100% of the time. No, he don't want them problems, them unnecessary problems that you're going to bring to the relationship. He don't want you to bring at home. And when he's down there watching a goddamn football game, don't go down there asking him 50 goddamn questions about what's going on in the game. How about you come down here, sit your ass down, and pay attention? Maybe during a commercial, you pop a question. Or maybe after the game, you ask a question. But don't be trying to bring issues of something that's going on that's really not that important, that needs to be addressed right then and there. We could talk about that later. Why we got to talk about it right now? I think that's what he's talking about, peace.
We can see these couple of super chats. Shay, a story to tell. With the $50 says, I think they should have a mic because they can speak from their reality, which means it's hard to find real love when your money makes it so easy for everyone to love you. AP accountability partner with the $5. Also a member says, what you did here, Aisha, is what women do in this space. You discounted his lived experience and went straight to insults. So he's gay?
I think that any man that doesn't value the presence of a woman and that is always talking negative on a woman and would rather be around men has gay tendencies. It is a lot of them creeping into our spaces. I'm tired of it. Like, dude, if you want to hang with your boy every day, like we 40. You know what I mean? I'm not quite almost there. But like, dude, I feel like you want a boyfriend. Like, you don't. There are men out here that genuinely don't want the company of a woman. Like, don't care to have it. Oh, I'm good. It's God created Adam and Eve. That's all I'm saying. So if you don't desire that at all in any capacity, the woman annoys you. You only want the woman around if she's serving you in some capacity. Then she needs to go on. To me, yeah, you might need to get you a boyfriend. Like, in reality, he's been around those men in the league. You just never know, right? And so that's where my head goes completely. That's where, I'm sorry, AP. That's where it goes. And I'm a Paul Pierce fan, and I'm just like, dude, like, what's happening? So sorry.
Well, Aisha, that's some nasty work right there. God damn.
Just straight gay, straight to gay.
It's I'll get you some dick in your
I
life.
just feel like he just haven't found his peaceful woman. Being where
Or
he's
maybe he hasn't found his
we
man.
just haven't found her.
He hasn't found his man. Like maybe
His man.
because
JR, do you hear this?
for years,
Bruh.
I've been confused for years, right? And so people have kids and everything. Some guy that I went to work with, kids, son was grown. He started sleeping with his best friend. Word to God, I can't. And they married today. Okay, he literally was married with kids, had a son and a daughter. I think his son was in college at the time, and he was sleeping with his best friend, and he had been sleeping with his best friend for years. It's somebody that I know personally, and now him and the best friend are married. These men be out here gay, okay?
But we don't stand a goddamn chance in this
Together
world,
and tell
boy.
their wives like we're gay.
Yeah.
Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
I'm telling you, it happens. Y'all better find. They be going to the gym with the friends. Girl, I'm telling you, I be seeing.
So hold on, time out, Aisha. Are you breaking the news and telling us that Paul Pierce is a man lover? Is that what you saying?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's possible, Hank. I'm saying it's possible.
Oh God.
If you watch his podcast, he has a disdain for women. It's weird. And I'm not trying to negate his life because we know this man has been famous his entire life, right? But still, I'm side on him these days.
Hello, motherfucker. These days, you have to kind of look at that anyway. It's you just have to look at it. It could be that, it could not be that, but gays.
Man, y'all wow, man. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's go ahead and get to this last clip. This is Paul Pierce again, where he says marriage is for poor people. Here we go.
Respect. When I started seeing the respect fade, like now you talking like this, like damn, you don't see this castle we got us. But that was cool before. That made you happy before.
What do you think made the respect fade?
Man, the respect fade, like, I mean, it just course over time because now, like, say a man cheated or a woman cheated, because I done been on both sides of it to where I was with somebody, they cheated, I cheated, whatever.
And you stayed after you got cheated on?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
a lot of men don't say that.
Yeah,
so I'm
Yeah, I did.
What made you stay?
Because I knew the value was beyond that. My relationship wasn't based off a sexual thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew the value. It was more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like every relationship shouldn't be based off of sex, but every relationship is based off of that.
I don't think so.
100%. You can't tell me nothing different. This is what I feel, and that's why I'll never be in another relationship, because it's always based off of that.
So you're not going to be in another relationship?
Hell no. For what? Because it's going to be based off the sex. Once that wear down, you're going to go find somebody else that's better. Yeah. It ain't going to be based off of... This is the thing, and listen carefully. Listen carefully.
I'm listening.
Relationships, let me tell you what marriage is all about. Let me tell you what marriage is and who's marriage for. Marriage is for old people and poor people.
Okay, so let's get into that. Why?
Because when you broke, our parents, like my moms and all them, they married on a merit of like, okay, we're going to put our incomes together, have all these kids, and then when our kids, we're going to have 5, 10 kids back in the 60s, all them, they're going to have 5, 10 kids so they can work and bring income.
Yeah.
So you poor. So you married for that. And now when you get old, somebody that to be by your side to take care of you. Right now, my mom got married. My mom never been married in my lifetime. She got married when she was 70.
Wow.
It was perfect. She had somebody by her side the whole way through.
So do you...
I really believe that. Like, that's what, like, outside of that, it's no advantage to a man. Why is marriage an advantage? What advantage, what does it do for a man when things go south? Like, we gonna have to give up half our this, pay child support, but what do it's only advantageous to a woman. Like, it's real talk.
But what if you meet a woman and you're like, wow, she's a gem, she's valuable, she's everything, and I want to lock her down in marriage?
I don't want to lock no woman down. We could be cool.
So you're telling me right now today,
you on
January 4th, you do not want to be in a relationship ever again?
I don't think it's realistic long term until I turn 70.
I am done. I've never been more done with a
I'm 47 right now. Until I turn 70, that's the only realistic part I see is because we both old. We ain't out in the streets. We at home watching TV. You go take me to the hospital. I'm going to take you to the hospital. That's it. But right now, I'm too cracking right now. So what do I need to
Is
do
it
all that
because you
for?
feel like you
What I need to do all that for?
Would you be?
All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Paul Pierce has been married before, but now his outlook on marriage has changed. He says marriage is for poor people. Why would he do that? He's cracking right now. Let's go ahead and get into it. Go ahead, Will. You just came to the panel. Welcome to the show, brother. What do you think about what Mr. Paul Pierce had to say on marriage being for poor people?
I think marriage is for young people, not poor people. I think a lot of people, and I apologize in advance. My daughters might make some noise in the background, but good afternoon to all of y'all. But like I was saying, marriage is for young people because when you get later in your years, when you get long in the tooth, you get set in your ways. Hey, I like my stuff like this. My laundry room is set up like this. My bathroom is set up like that. I put my pots and pans over here. This is my morning routine. If you only got one bathroom, somebody may have an hour and a half routine in the morning. In the bathroom, you're not really sharing the bathroom appropriately. If you only have a single vanity versus a double vanity, you want your colognes on the counter, your makeup products on the counter. You're gonna have these dynamics that you have to work through, and you wouldn't have those dynamics if people wedded early. If you got with somebody in your early 20s, and when I say early 20s, I'm talking about 23 and earlier. I'm not talking about mid 24, 25, 26. 24 is not bad, but if you're doing it after 25 and you've been living alone for 5 to 7 years, you're getting to that point where it's going to be hard to compromise. It's going to be hard to negotiate. You're going to have to make a significant amount of money to create the dynamic that you want for your household. And if you don't make a significant amount of money, then you're sharing expenses. It's going to be really difficult trying to navigate a space that's conducive for a unit that's moving in unison. Hold on, baby. Versus a unit that's moving apart from each other, or moving in individual silos, I should say.
All right, what you thinking, Vaughn?
I don't agree with the marriage being for old people either, but I don't agree either too young. I got married at 24, so I just don't feel like who I am now is not who I didn't know what I want then, and I definitely know what I want now. So opposed to being 22, 24, you kind of don't choose what you need now in your older age. So I don't agree with either side, like too young or too old. I mean, I think when you do get with someone, maybe in your 30s, you learn each other. So when you do grow old, that you both kind of just aware of each other and you know how to love each other and what each other needs. So Paul Pierce is just going to stay single the rest of his life. Like 70, who are you getting out here courting at 70?
I think marriage is, you got to have a certain mindset when it comes to marriage. I don't think age will determine that, because even if you marry young, they still may not be mentally prepared for what's to come with marriage. So I think you have to have an understanding of what marriage is, and I don't think a lot of people do. I don't think there are a lot of parents that exemplify a good example of what marriage is. And so a lot of people are confused if they are considering marriage. I don't think a lot of people that are speaking good about marriage. There's some people, but I think toxicity and negativity outshines anything that's positive. So when you do have people speaking about marriage, it's typically the bad things, and people's minds tend to focus solely on what's negative because it's work. And so if anybody can find an excuse or a reason not to be able to do it, then I think that that's what they gravitate to by default. It's a safe way out. They can find reasons as to why not to do it, more reasons why not to do it than to do it. So I just think you gotta have a certain mindset when it comes to marriage and a general understanding of what it is. Basic fundamentals would be knowing how relationships work. So all marriage is a relationship. It's just a higher commitment. So if you don't know how relationships work, it's damn near impossible for you to transition into a marriage. Go ahead, Ish.
I agree with you, JR. I think that it's mindset. I mean, I got with my ex-husband when I was 14 years old. I don't think that I have changed like my perception on life and marriage a whole lot since then, to be completely honest. I think that if my situation was different, I would still be married. So I definitely don't think that. So in a way, I do kind of agree with Will. Like I feel like when you get younger, it's a lot easier for you to make those changes and to adapt. Once you get older, it's hard. I ain't gonna like. Once I went through my divorce and I'm like out here, it's a lot harder for me to adapt, especially to a new person, and let alone to their new lifestyle. But I also always remind myself that marriage has nothing to do with me being upset because I can't get in the bathroom as much as I need to, right? Marriage is deeper than that, right? It's a lifetime commitment. And I think that we focus on the surface level thing. Marriage is supposed to be a commitment to you and your family. And when you get to a certain age, I feel like it's easier for you to make that commitment to your family. When I was younger, I didn't make so much of a commitment like that. It was really about me. But the older I got, the more that I realized it was about my kids. It was about actually creating community in a family. So I think that when you get older, your overall perception is a little different. Though it might be hard to change certain things about yourself and about your character in marriage, you're more willing to do that once you get older. Like you'll be like, okay, I can bend here. I feel like when I was younger, it wasn't no bending. It was like all about me, what I wanted. I'm the way I get this, and that. But the older I got, I learned to mature in the sense that it was more about a family. I got married not for me and not for the other person, but for an entire family. So I think that now at an older age, I just look at things different and I'm more likelier to compromise. Like, yes, I am very set in my ways. But I'm very much so knowing that when you're in a relationship, it's really not about you. It's always about the other person. So I'm just more aware older. And I wouldn't marry Paul Pierce when he was 70. I don't give a like he must have already got something written up in stone. Like he knows the lady that's gonna marry him and take care of him when he's 70 because you're 47 and you're still putting your mom down as your point of contact and your emergency contact. Like you don't feel weird about that, Paul Pierce. Like I don't know. Like I said, some of these mics need to be taken away. Like, yes, we're okay with hearing your life experiences, but your life experiences like go viral and they directly impact hundreds of thousands of young men's opinion on marriage. So, in my opinion, that's why I say some of these people need their mics taken away because the majority of the audience is not playing in the NFL. These young men are regular men. So to be taking that kind of advice, I just feel like it's detrimental to the community. If we're pushing family and we're pushing marriages, then why is the conversation always the opposite on these big platforms?
I want to play this last part again. This is my point I'm gonna make.
We both old. We ain't out in the streets. We at home watching TV. You go take me to the hospital. I'm gonna take you to the hospital. That's it. But right now, I'm too cracking right now. So what do I need to
Is
do
it
all that
because you
for?
feel like you
What I need to do all that for?
Would you be?
It might not have been on this one, but it might have been on the last one I played. But he asked her, well, if you got all the answers, how come you're not married? And it made me think about what Aisha was saying, as far as a lot of people need their mics taken away. But if you think a little bit further, there are a lot of people that have the answers and they still are not getting it right. So we're talking about Paul Pierce, but if we think about in our own reality and even sometimes ourselves, we giving these answers but we're still not applying them. So I think there's still another barrier that's in place because people are still fearful. If you believe 100% of what you're saying, then why hasn't it worked for you? Why haven't you been able to find nobody, right? I think that's something that's valid. And a lot of people get defensive when you do speak about it. Because if you think about how much game is given out here, you can paint the picture. This is how you get rich. This is how you invest. This is how stocks work. This is how relationships work. This is how you're supposed to properly feed a dog. This is how you supposed to, whatever it is out there, people still don't do it. The information is there. The common sense is there. The logic is there, but people don't want to apply it. They still don't believe what they're saying.
I think that we always forget that like love is an emotion that people feel. So although we can say, because I'll say a lot of stuff, and then once love get involved in your feelings, it kind of overpowers. I know for women, I don't know about men, but when we fall in these traps with these men,
Men love
we fall
harder than
in
women.
love. I don't know if you said it affects men too.
I said men love harder than women.
Men love harder than women.
And so I think that takes away. I know that love is just an emotion and people try to act logical, but I think that it takes away your power of discernment. I think that when emotions start getting involved with these people or things that we know that are bad for us, I think that one little ounce, maybe it's sex, whatever it is that feels good, overshadows all of that. Although it shouldn't, it does. It takes away our logical thinking, and that's why people end up in bad relationships for so long. You know what I mean? Because that emotion of love is so powerful that people will overlook. Like everybody will be like, "Girl, you don't see this, you don't see that," and it's like it takes you a moment to get out of that. And I also think that you can know what to do and still never find your person because you guys just haven't been in the same situation. You guys haven't been in the same circles. You guys just never find each other.
That ain't true.
Hold on. Like I do want to.
I'm around a lot of people that are amazing and they're all single. So I'm like, what is happening in this circle, right?
Well, to me, just to answer your question, that goes back to people don't have a true understanding of relationship because there's going to have to be a certain level of sacrifice, even when it comes to how you guys view things. So they can be amazing person, but they don't know how to be amazing with someone. That's a difference. So I think once you have to factor somebody else in, then there needs to be an adjustment. There has to be a shift of some sort where it's not just all about you. But I think Will made a good point when he said that men love harder, to your point. So I do want to unpack that a little bit. I do want to ask you first, Aisha, before I go back to Will, is how did you feel about what Will said? Like, what are your thoughts about men love harder?
I don't know if that's necessarily true from my experience, right? Because I tend to see a lot of more men walk away than women. I think that I just always, because women are the nurturers, we are the lovers, we are the caregivers, we are emotional by nature, by genetics, right? So I think that if men do love harder, because I mean, I've been around men that love, I just haven't seen it in that capacity, right? I don't think that I've seen a man go insane over a woman. I've never experienced that, but I've experienced the latter. I've never seen a man who lost everything that they had, like in my personal space, because they were in love with a woman, but I've seen a woman lose everything she had because she was in love with a man, right? So I just don't know. I'm interested to hear Will's point of view, but I just don't know in my life. Like I don't think I've ever seen that. You know what I mean? I've never seen it.
Got you, Will. You mentioned men love harder than women. Can you unpack that a little bit for the audience and for the panel?
Yeah, and I'm gonna address some of the other stuff that you said, Aisha, and something Vaughn said as well. So, Aisha, You're telling us that you see more men leave women than women leave men. Could this be influenced by your military experience? You would have to disqualify yourself then, because that's not the reality of society. If you look at statistical data when it comes to divorces, do you see men divorcing their wives?
I haven't looked at the statistics. Like I said, I'm military. I'm based it on, other things that I've seen.
Do you think men are divorcing their wives?
I know two people right now that are actively divorcing their wives. So that's not a question that you should want to ask me.
Cool. No, it is a question I want to ask you. Now, do you know these women that are being divorced?
Yes.
Are they good women?
I would say so.
No.
I would say that both parties were good. I just think that shit gets complicated.
You know, it don't get complicated. Men in large numbers. Men do not leave women that they love. They just don't do that. Men will stick in a bad situation, a sexless marriage, an abusive marriage, verbally, physically. Men endure a lot when they love a woman, because men don't prioritize their feelings above their family. Men don't prioritize their happiness above their woman. That's just not what men do in great numbers. Now, you may find an exception to the rule, but that's not men in general.
Well, before you continue, I do want to speak on this too, because you mentioned everything that a man will stick through. Now, have you seen as well that men will cheat and still stick with the family because they still prioritizing the family?
Absolutely, because men don't think a man ain't gonna leave his woman, his family, and woman for sex. He's not gonna do it. He'll step out and cheat before he just leave his woman for sex. Women, the moment another dude gets her attention and she gets into that state of oblivion, that state of euphoria, or that state of ecstasy, she's out. She's going to prioritize her happiness above her husband, her boyfriend, and her children. If she's not happy, the hell with this shit. It can sink. That's why you hear women say all the time, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. You don't hear men saying, now, does that mean no men say it? No, it's not saying that we're monolith. Everybody has the ability
These no men are definitely saying that all the time.
Say that again?
It's happening. The new age men.
We can't just talk about new age men. Men range from 18 to death. We can't look at a particular
demographic.
demographic.
Between their 30 and 40. They are definitely.
Okay, that's you got to look at 18 to death. You can't look at a group of men in their 30s and 40s and say,
I'm looking at the group of men that I experience on a day-to-day basis. So the men that I experience, they're talking about their happiness. They're putting their happiness up here.
Okay.
So I feel like you're out, I feel like it's outdated. What you're saying is outdated, because the men that I experience, even my cousins, like my family members, right, surrounded by men, they are putting their happiness above everything these days. Back in the day, I would say, yeah, that's true. But in 2025, the men that I experience and the people that I know, these men are putting their happiness on a platform. That's why Paul Pierce is up here with it, because he's putting his happiness above anything else.
No, but you can't use Paul Pierce. Okay, do you know if Paul Pierce divorced his ex-wife or she divorced him?
She divorced him for cheating.
It don't matter. Listen, the reason why she divorced him is irrelevant. She's the one that ended the relationship. I could cheat on my woman 1,000 times, and if she doesn't leave me, we're still in our relationship, right? I can yell at my woman one time and be justified in yelling at her, and she can leave me. She still left. It don't matter what the reason is. Y'all keep acting like the reason justifies the data. The data is women leave. You may say all you want. Well, watch this. Vaughn, how many men have left you in your lifetime?
None.
Aisha, how many men have left you in your lifetime?
2.
How many relationships have you been in?
Like 4.
So you're bad at 50-50.
I'm 50-50.
So you because 2 men left. Now let me ask you this: when they left you, was they prioritizing their happiness, or were you just not prioritizing them, or were you not valuing them?
The first guy, I was me. I would say I was valuing or prioritizing.
Okay. How long did he stay with you while you wasn't prioritizing or valuing him?
We weren't together like long, maybe 2 years. I remember.
So for 2, you know what I'm saying? But how long did he stay with you while you weren't prioritizing him or valuing?
I don't know. Probably maybe a year. I don't know. I stopped. I don't know. That was a long time ago, but like maybe a year he stayed. We stayed. I don't know.
All right. Well, let me address some of the things y'all say real quick. So, first of all, Paul Pierce is not influencing black men. Nobody wants to be like Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce does not ring bells in black men's mentality. Paul Pierce is not a voice for us. Y'all hear celebrities get on microphones and y'all think because they're talking, they're influencing us. That's not true. Influential people influence us. Just because you might be rich, just because you may be famous, don't mean we're listening to you. Do you think Barack Obama is influencing black men?
I think that he influenced a lot of black people.
I didn't say black people. I said black men.
Black men, yes, absolutely.
In what ways?
I mean, they actually voted for him.
Do you
That's how I
understand?
feel. They voted for him.
Yeah,
So
but do you understand? We're talking about the dating and relationships, right? Paul Pierce is saying he's not going to get married. Barack Obama's been married to his wife for forever. He got kids. He's still with her. Do you think that's influencing us? Do you think young black boys are growing up saying, I want to be like Barack Obama? Okay, she's not going to answer. So
no, I couldn't hear you. It literally paused for like 5 seconds or something.
Do you think young black boys and young black men are saying they want to grow up and be like Barack Obama?
Yes.
In what ways?
I mean, to be the president, and I feel like they can get into politics because of him. But I don't necessarily think that they're saying I want to be like Barack Obama and get married to a Michelle. If that's the question that you're asking.
Yes, we're talking about relationship stuff.
So
All
no,
people are talking about relationship stuff.
I don't think that any.
Hold on. That would be Aisha. You got to understand, Paul Pierce was a phenomenal basketball player. Obviously, a lot of black boys want to be basketball players. And I'm telling you, we don't want to be Paul Pierce. So think about that. If you think young black boys are saying, I want to be president of the United States, you got another thing coming. Black boys are not thinking about being the president of the United States. That's not something that we're striving to be. We do strive to be in the NBA. So we strive to be where Paul Pierce has been, but we don't strive to be where Barack has been. You think we want to be like Barack. I'm telling you, if we don't want to be like Paul Pierce, we don't want to be like Barack either. Neither one of them moved the needle for us. But I digress. I want to ask y'all a couple questions. Well, look. So Vaughn, you said at 24, you'd be too young to be married at 24. If all of your friends was married, if it was what the norm was that black boys and girls prioritize marriage around the ages of 20 and 21, do you think at 24 years old, you think you will be too young to be married?
No, what I think is from my experience from getting married, I obviously didn't think 24 was too young to get married when I did it. I'm just looking back at it now and saying I should have waited a little longer. That's all.
When you got married, how old were you when you got married?
24.
Oh, okay,
23, 24.
Did your friends want to be married when you got married?
Not that I know of, but not at that time. I don't think they did. I mean, they didn't have probably anyone that wanted to marry them possibly at that time.
But that's why you would have not wanted to be married. Aisha, how old were you when you got married?
The same age. I was 24.
Did your friends want to be married?
Most of my friends married their high school sweethearts. They were married. We had friends, so I guess so. That's probably why I got married at such a young age. It was normal.
So did you think at any point in your life from then up until now that you were too young to get married at that time?
No.
You see the difference, Vaughn? If you're in an environment where this is socially the norm or socially acceptable, you're not going to think you're too young to get married. Do you think it makes sense do you ladies think it makes sense for kids to go to college right out of high school?
Yes.
I think it's easier. So
No. Does it make sense for them to do
It
that?
makes sense because yeah.
Okay, why is that?
I don't think so. This is just my life experiences because I went to college straight out of high school, and I just think that if you ask an 18-year-old to go to college straight out of high school, then it literally, they're not going to get married until they're 25 or 26. Like, it literally puts a damper on anything else that you have planned because college becomes your priority, then your career becomes your priority. Then you
I think you're speaking after the fact, but if you before you experienced it, did you think that was a norm?
yeah, because that's what the world tells you to do. Go to graduate college. I mean, graduate high school, go to college, have a family.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
If Hink and I have children and we forbid our children from going to college right out of high school, and we make them go through a series of working jobs for 6 years, every year they get a different job in a total different field to get some experience of testing out these different industries, and then they went to college and it became a success, right? So they graduate 18, they work a different job every year until 24, well, 23, and then at 24 they go to college. After college they graduate at 28, and then they go into that career field, their choice, and they have a successful life. If people did a case study on Hink and I, and it was successful, both of all the kids in our house, right? Whatever amount of kids we have, they all did that, and it was a success. And then other families started to adopt that method, and it started to be a success in their families. Do you think it will change the trajectory of making sense to go to college right out of high school?
Yep.
It's all about the social norms. You guys are making your logical answers due to social norms. It's not a logical answer. You're not thinking through it. You're just accepting what is acceptable versus what is unacceptable, what is frowned upon versus what is smiled upon. And y'all think right now, because marriage and young people are frowned upon, that y'all think y'all too young. But y'all great grandparents wouldn't have never thought to wait to 25 to 30 years old before they got married.
No.
It would have been an abomination.
I disagree. I don't care what the norm was. I don't really care what age I would have found love and wanted to get married. No one around me was getting married that I knew of. Everybody, all my friends were single when I got married. So my decision was purely based off of this person stepped up and this is who I fell in love with, and we decided to get married. Had nothing to do with a social norm.
Okay, I didn't say that everybody does everything based on social norms. There's always outliers and someone that does something different, right?
I feel like being from down south is definitely a social norm. Like,
it's not being from down south.
I feel like that's how we do.
So you think people up north? You think people y'all in this south and north? Y'all think the people up north wasn't getting married at an early age?
I'm talking about in this age. I'm talking about my life experience because I have people that live up north in New York, best friends, literally my best friend. Like, she doesn't have kids. You know why she doesn't have kids? And I visit New York often. Their lifestyle is not the same as ours. It just isn't.
So you're basing up north off of one city.
Because I always tell her, like, if you still lived in Houston, you'd be married and have kids by now. Like,
are you basing up north off of one city?
Hold on, you guys. Hold on. I do want to bring something up because she said that it wasn't a social norm. Cool. Where was there a social norm when it came to not seeing things through? Like, where did you get that pep in your step to say, I should not have done this? Because I would have probably said it would have been more of a social norm to work things out. So where did the disconnect come from then? Like, was that a social norm that you don't have to deal with this versus you having to deal with this?
No, I'm more of a work it out person. I think Isha mentioned something about men would rather, instead of going through the headaches or whatever you got to go through, they'll rather walk away and find another woman. I don't want to deal with that. I want to deal with this, whatever the issues are. Sometimes they don't want to understand what the issues are because all they seeing is themselves and what they feel like they're not getting and not looking at what the other person needs or not getting. So I feel like a lot of men, not all, are walking away faster and not putting in the work. So you're pushed to that level of having to walk away and not, you know, making it work.
Yeah, that's not true. Most women are think it's grass is always green on the other side. They always can find better. That's just the opposite for men. Men are loyal to the relationship to a fault.
You could be
And
loyal to the relationship, but if you're not understanding and giving me what I need, you still just gonna stay and be fine. And I'm supposed to just adjust. I brought it to you. But if you're not seeing my side of things and understanding what I need and what I'm asking for, because from 24 to now, I've grown into a different person. So what I need now, and you're not listening and you're not doing and you're not implementing that, then what are you supposed to do?
The older you get, you shouldn't be becoming more needy. You should be
No,
less needy the older you get.
It's not
Now,
needy.
as a younger person, I understand why you're so needy, because you see everybody else get it. You want to have it too. But as older you get, you need.
It's not things. It's not things. It's emotional things. It can be
Even emotional things. The older you get, you shouldn't be more needy emotionally.
Okay.
You shouldn't, because you already learned certain things. You mature in certain things, so you have a different understanding. But you getting older, you're more emotionally needy. Yeah, you a problem. You a big problem.
So that means that he
No
needs
man
to walk
want to deal
away
with
from
a
his
woman.
marriage. He needs to walk away from his marriage because she needs more emotional support. Like, that's not making sense.
Why is it, as a elder woman, you needing more emotional support? Why?
Because I'm going through menopause.
You didn't learn nothing in a time period for you coming up? What did you learn? You should, as a more older woman, you should learn how to adjust it and adapt to certain things as you got older. Now, as a younger woman, I understand why because you didn't learn anything yet. You're still learning. But a woman who's older, why are you more emotionally needy like that? That don't make sense.
I can definitely adapt. But are you men going to be more adaptable to whatever? Because you have needs too. You have needs and emotional, you want support. So are you going to adapt to us as well?
But the problem is, most men put their needs on the back burner for women. Now, maybe it's a problem for us doing that. Maybe we should be doing it as much. Maybe we should do that less. But that's not what we do. We put our emotions, we'll put our shit on the back burner. That's why you sit there and say, you hear about men committing suicide, because we don't speak on our emotions like we probably should. We should speak on our emotions more. We probably should be having more a conversation with other men and getting that shit off and having someone to talk to and having some type of therapy. But we don't do that. We say, "Oh, we all right. We good.
Right.
We'll
don't
figure
get
it
mad
out."
at us because we do. We're
Hank,
different.
watch this, Hank. Vaughn, do you believe so? Let's just say with this metamorphosis that you women go through over time, does it make sense that a man, let's work with me for a second. I don't want to confuse you. Try to stay with me, okay? Let's say phase one, man meets girl, and she's in phase one of her metamorphosis. Then she morphed into phase two. Then phase three, all the way to phase 10. Do you expect that man to adjust and adapt to each stage that she's in to give her what she needs?
No, because no one's perfect. So I don't expect you to adjust to every last one of them. But if it's something, I probably wouldn't need it for every last one.
My husband, I expect
whatever phase you need, right? Let's drop it from 10 to 3 phases. Of these 3 phases, right? Because it can still be 10 phases, and you're like, of the 10, I only need you to adjust to the 3. The 3 changes I go through. Do you expect your man to adjust to those 3 different phases?
I expect my man to care about what I need. So I definitely expect, if these 3 things are the things that I need, I expect him to
answer the question. Do you expect him to adjust?
Yes, to those 3. Yes, it's a yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
If that's what I need.
Okay, so cool. The answer is yes, right? Then I can get back to breaking it down for you. So you expect him to adjust. Let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. Do you think you ladies properly articulate what it is you need and see if that man is equipped to adjust to what it is you say you need.
Now, I will agree with you there. Everything is not always articulated the best. And that's why I say communication and knowing how to articulate and use your words on what you need exactly should definitely be done. It's not always done. So, no.
Well, I've never heard none of you ladies say that we need to do a better job of articulating.
We do.
We do. No, this is what I'm saying. I've never heard any of you women say we need to do a better job of articulating our needs to our significant other, our man, and making sure he's equipped to meet those needs before we put that expectation on him.
You're right.
Now here's my other question. Here's my other question. Do you think men go through changes that women adjust to?
Not as much as we do.
It's all selfishness.
It's not selfish because I'm going to, if you need, okay, so.
I just asked you, do men go through changes that women adjust to and you didn't even respond?
Oh, could be. You could be out of a job. No, you guys go through changes. It could be a job that you lose. It could be.
Ma'am, I said changes. That's not a change.
That's a change because you have
circumstance in life. No, a change is me. I'm changing. Me lose a job. That's not me changing. That's something I'm dealing with. That's not a change in me.
Okay, but it does change. You want emotional support there.
Okay, so what about find a job in 2 weeks then? Does your emotional support stop then?
No, it don't. No, I'm still going to support you. Now I'm going to encourage you, or I'm going to be rooting for you. You actually.
But Vaughn, that's not. But I didn't change. I just lost my job. I didn't change.
Okay, so you're talking about change. Well, what changes are you talking about specifically with women that you're saying? I said emotional support. It could be anything, the same things of changes through life.
Do you think the men are the emotional support vehicles, or is that the women?
It's the women.
So you're expecting the men to do the job that is women are preconditioned to deal with.
I don't feel like I'm asking a man to be overly emotional, but I'm asking you to show up for me. And that shouldn't be no reason that you can't emotionally.
How does a man show up for a woman emotionally? Articulate it now. Remember, you're asking for this. Articulate it so gentlemen like myself, JR, and Hink can understand what you are saying. Because if you just say show up for me emotionally, what exactly does that mean?
It's the same thing you were talking about with men. I could be going through something.
No, I haven't said anything with men yet.
You said our men change. It's something you're dealing with when you were talking about the job.
Vaughn,
yes. Hold on. Let me.
I asked you that just to test the reverse. I'm not sitting here saying that men. Vaughn, you said that you need men to show up for you emotionally. Why don't you just explain that instead of explaining anything else? Because if I was your man and I wanted to show up for you, don't reverse it and say it's the same way you need me to blah, 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 blah. Just tell me what you need.
I started with that. Can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I mean by that is just being aware of my needs, or something like I'm going to use cleaning or things I have to do around the house. I work a full-time job. I teach, I deal with mental health, adult with disabilities all day long. So I could go to work and work all week. I still have to come home. I still have to clean. I still have to cook. I still possibly have to go to the grocery store, tap into those emotions like, oh, let me take something off our plate because I know she's done all this all day. Emotionally, I'm stressed out and I need to de-escalate somehow. But if I come in and you just not emotionally tapped into me at all, you're not going to say, well, oh, hey, babe, I cooked already, or I at least grab the groceries so you can cook. Make something easier for me. Like, I don't want to have an emotional breakdown. This might break me down because I'm doing so much every day, all day throughout the week.
So let me make sure I understand this straight. If your man cleans the house, does the dishes, laundry, and fold clothes or whatever, straighten up, that's tapping into you emotionally.
That's helping me emotionally. Yes.
No, listen to what I'm asking you.
Lifting something emotionally off of me.
Listen to what I'm asking you.
Yes.
If I do the laundry for you, if you're my woman and I do the laundry, did I just connect with you emotionally?
Yes, because I felt like you were looking at all the stresses that I've been dealing with throughout the day.
But
so you doing something and taking something off my plate helps me emotionally. Yes.
Okay. So you do know men do not tie task around the house as emotionally connecting with their woman. There's not a man on planet Earth that, now we know we're doing a favor. Maybe if her love language is acts of service, but who, traditionally speaking, who's supposed to cook and clean? You muted yourself.
We are.
Okay. Is it ever articulated that you want that role to switch from your responsibility to his responsibility?
Yes. I'm going to communicate. And not saying I'm making it your responsibility. I'm just asking for the help because
when you ask for the help, do you want to communicate that, or do you want him just intuitively to pick up on that?
Both. I'm going to communicate it, but sometimes I feel like some stuff should just be left unsaid. Like you know what my day is. We talk, we communicate.
Why would it ever need to be left on? Okay, let me ask you this. Is there things that you need done that he doesn't communicate to you that he would just do? Like if your brakes are squeaking, do you have to constantly remind him your brakes are squeaking, or does he hear the brakes squeaking and say, I'm gonna take care of that?
I have to tell him.
You have to tell him? And does he get mad that you tell him?
No.
Do you get mad that you tell him?
No.
Does he drive your car every day?
No. Why are you associating?
I'm trying to get you to understand. If a man hears that your brake, Hink, I'm sorry. Let me ask Hink. Hink, if you driving your wife's car and you hear her brakes are squeaking, do you just take care of it, or does she got to tell you to take care of it?
No, I take care of it.
I think men naturally do the things that they do, Vaughn, like take out the trash, change the battery in the smoke detector, fix something that's broken, put together toys for the kids, put together furniture or whatever. I think men just naturally do the masculine, physically draining things, and the emotionally draining things. I think you ladies just do a horrible job of communicating. I understand you want men to intuitively step up to the plate. I'm not saying that's unfair to want that, but it's unfair to expect that, because men don't think like y'all. And if you got to tell a man 1,000 times, just tell him 1,000 times. Now, if he starts complaining about it, then y'all might have to talk about something else. I tell my woman this all the time. She'd be like, why can't you just do it? I said, why can't you just tell me? I'm not thinking, my brain don't think like that. Don't get mad at me because I don't intuitively think like you. I'm going to do it if you say, hey, this needs to be done. Okay, I know it's not something that you're tasked with, so I'm going to do it. Now, I may not do it right when you want it done. So if you need it done today, you might want to specify, hey, babe, I need this done today. Then I could prioritize it on my list. If you just tell me it needs to be done, I may already have had 3 other things on my to-do list that I was going to do. And then you threw a 4th thing on my to-do list is at the bottom. If you stress the priority that it needs to be done today or tomorrow morning, I'm going to move it to the top of the list, especially if those other things are not time pressing. But if they're time sensitive, I'm gonna be like, hey, this ain't that important. I'm gonna do this on Tuesday. But I think as smart as women are and as sacrificial as you guys are at times, I think you do your sacrifices in the quiet, in the dark, and men are not made aware of it, and you use it against us because you're expecting us to think like you. We don't. You guys explain to your children over and over. You even things that you've explained to them 1,000 times that you expect them to just know, you will explain it again. Treat us like that, unless we tell you stop talking to me like that. But if we stop thinking we know something that we don't know, stop expecting this intuitive engagement. I don't like that. Me personally, I tell my mom all the time, just tell me. Stop thinking I'm going to think about something. I'm not thinking about that. And if you want me to start thinking about that, you understand it's going to take from something else, that my brain capacity is going to be shifting from what I think about to things you think about. Now, when I stop thinking about what I'm thinking about, you're going to find some voids in our family. You're going to find some voids in our life that you never think about, that I'm always thinking about. But because you want me to think more like you, it's got to come from somewhere. Don't think my brain capacity is just going to stretch and I'm going to keep adding to this capacity. No, sometimes we shift our capacity. And when he start thinking more like you ain't going to like him.
I do want to add this on to what Will is saying too, just to speak to another perspective of what somebody else may be considering. I don't think that you can over communicate. I think that you can under communicate, but I don't think you can over. So it goes back to what I said. You got to learn that individual. If you have tried to do it a certain way and you're not getting the results, then maybe you might have to switch up your approach. Maybe you have to be a little bit more vocal. Maybe you have to be a little bit more specific, and then see if that yield the changes or the expectations or the desires that you may want. Because it could be before you crash out and you start acting funny or you start tripping or complaining, then just try to maybe approach it differently. And so to Will's point, I think that I always look at things on a spectrum. You got the middle right here, you got the pro on here, and the con over here. Which side you want to be on? Typically, I want to be more on the pro side. I don't want to be on the con side, because if I'm on the con side, a little bit more risky. But if I know if I cross all my T's and dot all my I's, and I'm close on the pro side, because to me, a lot of things are not right or wrong. That can be subjective. So you have to really just understand how it's supposed to work based off these variables and formulas. I think we overcomplicate it. So to Will's point, he's saying if you articulate and you speak up about specifically what it is that you want, then you're more likely to yield these results versus not yield them. But there's no right and wrong with it, right? It could be wrong. I mean, you got to ask yourself, when things fail, could I have done something better? And if you say yes, then to eliminate getting to that point, then why not just be a little bit more proactive and be on the pro side? Then you don't have to go to that fail, because the fail is unpredictable as well. And if we fail, then we don't know where that may go either. And we talk about all the connection and chemistry. Once you keep going over to that fail side, then your relationship and marriage may be rocky, because now the foundation has been distorted and we're all over the place. So if you change that mindset that we always speak about and go more on the pro side, then we can eliminate some of the risk. To me, life is all about minimizing the risk. So what does that look like for you and your relationships in life? If I'm trying to minimize the risk, then speak up a little bit more, be a little bit more specific. Don't crash out. Again, I'm dealing with a different person, so I got to approach it differently. I might have to look at myself and see if there's anything that I can do better. If I look at every situation about what I can do better, then I'm not likely to point the finger every single time everything fails or falls out of place. So I just think that we have to look at it. You can have 5 points in how you look at life. And if you are hitting at least 4 of those points, then I think your life will become easier. But because the way our mind works, we overcomplicate it, and then that's the reason why we all over the place. Go ahead, Dora. I know you wanted to say something.
I had to write everything down because I didn't get to talk for most of this panel. So it's like, all these topics, since I joined, I had to just write everything down because I felt like I wasn't going to remember. So the topic about a man loving harder than women. So this was the point that I wrote down. I think that women don't feel like men love harder. And one of the reasons is because of them cheating. That kind of skews that perception, because they think they would associate them cheating with not loving hard. Mm-hmm. And then also, if they don't get divorces, the assumption could also be because, they don't want to lose their stuff. Like they have to give half of their retirement and alimony and all of that stuff. So I think that's skewing it. And I also know that if a woman was to do the same thing, where, she stays with a man, if he cheats, she's looked at as being weak and desperate and all of that stuff. So I think overall, as women, our tolerance level is lower than a man's, just because we just won't, and I mean, we just have this negative disposition towards each other if we tolerate, but then when a man stays, we kind of don't notice it. We kind of can't associate that loving hard with that. So that was my point on that. And then in terms of the age thing, where Will mentions being married in the early 20s, like my thought on that was the fact that when we get out of high school, we're like, oh, we get out of our parents' home, we want to wilding out, be free to just go do whatever. And then the marriage is not on the mind because it's like, let's go party. We're free from restriction kind of behavior, and then like with the view of marriage, at that time, it could be viewed as a restriction because then it's like you can't experience different people. You can't sleep with different people, at that time. So it's kind of like, I think it's based on the mindset there too. But I do agree with his overall point with the social norms, because that can influence it as well. And then in terms of women articulating what's needed, I think that emotions are constantly changing. So trying to keep up with articulating what you need based on your emotions, you're not always doing that. So that is something we can improve on. And then in terms of men going through changes, I wrote that we spoke, like the topic was talked about earlier, how women are asking like 15 questions because, they want to know how a man's feeling. Well, it's kind of like that. I thought that was kind of associated with that because, men will tend to go through things on their own and won't involve a woman. And then that's why they have those questions. So in a sense, they're also vague as well. And they would need to work on communication too, to help a woman understand and have some patience around the asking questions. And maybe women don't ask 15 questions at once, but maybe do like 3 to 4 at a time, not just a whole bunch sporadically, just to kind of, get him up to speed, because men are definitely physical. They don't, I don't see that they spend a lot of time just thinking, and about their emotions and diving in depth on those. So those were my comments there.
So, Dora, I think you're coming to me with that question about why ain't you, man? Just admit it. Are you going to admit that, man?
You said, we'll say it again?
You was coming to me when you talk about that question about why.
Yeah, so I was I understand from your perception and from the woman's perception. And my suggestion was to maybe ask less questions and just make it, sporadic and not just throw 15 questions at once. So that was kind of the solution that I had for that, to just kind of find a middle ground.
So in that scenario we've seen, that woman seems like she would continue, even though the man gave her an answer. Mm-hmm. She would continue. That's what I was saying. She would continue to ask, well, why? Why? Ma'am, I gave you an answer. Now, I don't understand why my answer wasn't suffice enough for you, but I need a moment because I'm going through some shit.
Yep.
I told you right then and there, the answer. I need a moment because I'm going through some shit. Then she wants to know why. Why are you going through shit? Ma'am, I'm not ready to speak on that right now at this moment. But if you give me some time and some peace and some distance from you, so I can, filter, go through this, come up with a more reasonable answer for you, I will do that later, but not at this moment. I need some time. But that's not what a lot of y'all want. No, y'all want to know right then and there.
Yep.
And
yeah,
man,
I agree with that.
I don't have the answer right then and there. But if you give me a moment, I can give you that. But that's not what a lot of ladies or women want. They're not ready to hear that. They're not ready to receive that. They're not ready to accept that. They want the answer. And I only at that moment, I might not even have the answers. I just need some time to get it together. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think it's their anxious mindset. Like, oh, I want to help you. And that's great. But it's like they do need to give you some space to kind of compose your thoughts and come together with that. Yeah. So, and I think, maybe sometimes that answer you give, I mean, they just don't understand it. So now you have to come up with a different way to say it too. So it could be that. But yeah, I do think, step back, give some space, and then just, come back and listen. And, like I said, that's how I see it too. So.
All right. Go ahead and get to these super chats, man, so we can go ahead and get up out of here. Big Ann 11, $10 says, yeah, I agree with Paul that marriage is for old people. Look at Hink. He old than a mother. ACW online, $10 says, for Vaughn, if your spouse cheated on you with someone you know, coworker, friend, etc., would you be able to work through it if you knew they didn't do it again? Would you?
If I knew they wouldn't do it again, how would I know that? But in marriage, I feel like you should try to work on it if it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
All right. Mr. Guy with the $100 says society has tricked our ladies into wasting their optimal childbearing years for the least optimal years, increasing autism, Down syndrome, mortality rates, and so much more. We control culture, make the social norm what you think is best, not what is acceptable. AP Accountability Party with $100 says, think. We can't talk to men, especially about our emotions, because according to Aisha, we must be gay. Lost so much respect. I thought she was one of the good ones. We lost one gentleman. Salute to everyone. Appreciate the show. AP Accountability Partner $5 says, damn, did I just totally agree with Will. Good stuff. You want to give us closing thoughts, Vaughn and Will? Anything before we get up out of here? All right, Vaughn said, anything, Will?
You don't got nothing, Vaughn? I just want to let you go first.
I know you do. I'm gonna let you go.
you know I do.
I know you do.
Mr. Moore Writers in the building. Listen, ladies, I just
determined that was a lie.
Oh no, sir, Mr. Moore Writer. Look, it's everybody is their own individual person, but everybody does not have unique thoughts. Most people think the same. You can't read the minds of other people, so you think your thoughts are unique because you think these are just your thoughts. No, most of y'all, us, me included, most of us have the same thoughts. Very few of us think outside of the box. So if you had struggles with guy A, that relationship came to an end, guess what? You're probably going to have the same issues with guy B. But what y'all tend to do is y'all tend to work on the 80-20 rule. Your guy will have 80% of what it is that you want and need, but your focus will shift to the 20% of what he's falling short. And because the 20% of where he falls short occupies 100% of your thought process in that time, you're going to look at him as though he's a 100% failure. So then you will find a guy who does well in the department where your man struggles. And you would think that that man is the saving grace. Oh, the heavens have opened up and he fell out the sky. Then once you get with him, you're going to and start spending more time with him. His 20% will surface. But unfortunately, his 20% ain't going to quite be 20%. his 20% might be 60%. So he's a 60% failure and a 40% success rate. But because his 40% overlaps your ex's 20%, you don't see. You can't see the forest because of trees. You blinded. You like, oh, this man is perfect. Then you get with him and you start saying, I was better off with my ex. But your pride, your lack of humility, your lack of submission, your lack of forgiveness, it won't allow you women to backtrack. 99% of you women will be better off if y'all go back to one of y'all's exes. Because the new men are either just as bad as your man or worse. Good luck out there in them streets. I hope y'all keep losing. Hey, JR, can I plug this little smoke show?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I think we going, JR, maybe you find out this too. Maybe we should shoot for this coming month, not tomorrow, but next week on Monday. We should shoot for that smoke show because as I get screenshots from people telling me that people in the comment section be disagreeing with me, you have an opportunity to come and test your logic against mine. Wear a helmet, wear a mouth guard, have a back brace and some leg braces and some crutches available because I will decimate you and leave you begging for full body assistance. Anywho, Vaughn, I hope you get that. And I hope a lot of these other women who can't get a man listen to the rhetoric that's coming out my mouth.
I just got one comment to you. Do you agree that everybody's, with that 80-20 rule, everybody's 80 and 20 is different?
Not everybody, but some people. The upper echelon dudes are going to be 80-20. The lower echelon dudes would be probably 60-40. So, but there may not be the same areas that they struggle in.
So do you agree if someone could be with someone and what they think their 80 is to me is my 80, that we have the same perception of what my 80 is? Like you think you're giving me 80, would you? But that's not my 80. So some of that 20 could be leaking over to my 80, but I'm not getting that. So well, I still need a full 80.
It's not about your 80. It's about his 80. You have to be able to identify what his 80 is. And he needs to be able to identify what your 80 is. His issue comes in if, for example, I tell my woman this all the time. She gets on my nerves at times. So understand, take this with a grain of salt. I tell her she's the best woman I've ever met. Does that mean she's best in every category of women I met? No. She may not be the tallest, the fastest, the strongest, the smartest, the prettiest, the sexiest, whatever, the cleanest, the best cook, whatever. She doesn't mean she's the best in every single category, but her cumulative score scores higher than every other woman I've ever met. Okay. So I will be a fool to leave her because can I get another woman? Sure, I can get another woman today. But my past experience tells me that woman is going to be a notch below mine. She may be a great woman still, but she ain't going to be as good as my woman. So I recognize that. So when she pissed me off, I go sit in my little corner, take my little time out, go vent, go take a drive, do whatever I do. But my every intention is to come home. Now, if she wanted to get froggy and test the waters out there, hey, she has every right to just say, leave me whether we married or not. But if she go out there and test the waters, does she believe she can find better than me? That's a question for her to answer. And most of you ladies think y'all can get better. And most of y'all can't.
So your solution to that is recognize what each person has to recognize what each person 80 is.
Yes, no, just recognize where they rank because they may not be 80. I think if your man or your woman is at a 90%, that's temporary. That's not sustainable. They're just peaking right now. If they're at 80%, you struck gold, platinum, silver, uranium, vibranium, titanium. You struck every precious metal out there. If they're at 70%, you hold on to them because their peaks will hit 80 at times. They probably never get to 90, but they'll hit 80 and they'll drop back to 70. Be okay with that. Stop complaining about everything they do you don't like. Because anything that hits 60% and below is a no-go. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. The 70% person will sway. They will peak up to 80. They may drop down about 71, maybe hit 60 sometimes. 60 is danger. Anybody that lives at 60 and below, you cannot entertain them. They're not worth holding on to. There's going to be constant bickering, constant fighting, constant disagreement, constant bumping heads. 70%, that's where people need to learn to compromise / negotiate. I don't compromise, I negotiate. 80%, you can't complain. 90% ain't sustainable long term. Ain't nobody 100%.
You got to also factor into the older you are and you have unsuccessful marriages and relationships, the more negative experience that you are tacking on. And so it becomes difficult dating older. It doesn't get easier. You know, if you're single out there and you're looking to meet somebody and somebody has been participating in dating, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be some challenges. And so when you find that 70 or above is what we are speaking about, then you might have to reevaluate your expectations at that point, because it's not going to get any easier. And if you're looking for anybody that's better, then you got another thing coming. I think a lot of people are fooled when they get out there and they start dating. You start to be like, man, because you got to learn a whole new set of irritations, of habits, of responses. It's just so much that you have to learn. And you've learned to adapt to what you had, but I'm not saying anybody should tolerate like cheating or anything, abuse. But if you were being unfair and you just wasn't happy for whatever reason, you might want to think about it a little bit deeper and understand what relationships really is, because I think that's what a lot of people fall trapped to. It's one of them hard pills to swallow, because you ain't getting no younger and you ain't promised tomorrow. And I'm not saying that you have to be in one, but most people that choose to be single and choosing themselves and a choiceful woman, all that good stuff, that's coming as a result of something. I don't think that that's the way that they live life. Most people who have chosen that path have attempted at marriage or relationships. It just didn't work out the way that they desired to. And it might have been one of those harmful fails. And now they're fearful of bringing that back or attracting that or giving it a shot. And so this is the way that they're choosing their life. Anybody, just ask them. If you think I'm bullshitting, ask anybody their path and how they came about choosing that way. I was just on a field trip with my son, headstrong woman, and we were having a conversation. She was 2 times divorced. And I always say there's a root as to why people choose the path for their headstrong. So her root was that at 8 years old, they was filthy rich, and they lost it all, lost the house, lost everything. And so from that point on, she said that I would never be in that position again, you know, having to see that at 8 years old. And so that mentality carried over into all her relationships as far as her being headstrong. But to my point, she attempted at love. It just didn't go out the way she wanted to. And some can argue it could have been her fault, could have been her upbringing, whatever the case may be, but she attempted to. So I don't think that people just choose to be single. That's the rhetoric that they speak when, you know, the Bible says that you don't have to be, not everybody's meant to be married and all of that. All of y'all have attempted to do that shit. Nobody wants to be alone. So y'all enjoy y'all Sunday. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Vaughn, Will, Dory, G, Hank.
Smoke show.
Smoke show next Monday.
Smoke show.
Next Monday. You got any smoke?
Bring your smoke. Oh, shut the up.
Yeah, smoke show.
I said
y'all be ready for that. So if y'all got to go get y'all eyebrows done and y'all hair done and all that good stuff, make sure y'all
you gotta have your camera on, because you can't bring no smoke with looking like this.
There you go.
Bring that camera on, show your dysfunctional looking face, show your dysfunctional looking logic, bring the smoke.
I know y'all, we out. Appreciate y'all. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to that channel. You catch on the replay. Thank you guys as well. Hit that like button. And we are out. Smoke show next Monday.
Hey, Dory.
Hello.
Extra, read everybody. Say
I wish I could have got your feedback.